Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Great. It's the same signal interference.
And this is the left, right. What is my phone? I got to face that. So, Maggie, good morning. I'm just going to chat because this is Malaysia. So when it starts at 10 o'clock, people will keep walking in. So for the next 5 minutes, we will allow people to slowly come in, no problem. Okay, we expect that. So before we start, I'm Raja Singham. Yes. Okay, so at least in case you're wondering, I'll introduce myself. I'm with the BAC Education Group. I've been a teacher here for since we started 32 years ago. So why we do these things is, I firmly believe that in this world, the idea is for us to work together, collaborate, and then grow. Not to look at things from a competitive standpoint. It should be win-win all the way. So I think we've been always running as many projects, talks, seminars, initiatives, and things which have really impacted a lot of lives. And often, not because we've done it on our own, but because we've had a lot of people who have been helping us. We work with about 200 NGOs. Yesterday we had sad news. The founder of Jaya Grocer, only 68, he passed away. During the pandemic, he actually gave us a lot of money through a free food society. It's one of the societies that I'm in. I founded. They gave us a lot of stuff. Every week, every month, they actually had their donation boxes there, and people donated, and they sent to us a lot. I think somewhere in the tune of 600,000 or 500,000 over that period of time. So during the pandemic, we managed to give out food to 200,000 people, thanks to so many members of the public who came forward. But actually, that's right. You can have one person giving $1 million, or 1 million people giving $1, or 100,000 people giving $10. So that's the key thing. So I'm actually just saying hello. Now, first thing, let's get a couple of things straight. I am no smarter nor no more than any one of you all in this room. That's the first thing. So if I say something that I already knew that, I also know. Yeah. A lot of you all are very bright, smart people. So when I teach, it's like how I always assume everybody knows nothing. It's safer as a teacher to just say. So if I offend your intelligence by saying something like, I already knew that this guy is telling me something which is obvious. I've noticed a lot of the things I tell people in the last few years, I myself have forgotten to apply. Okay, so it's a reminder, not just for you, for me, and some of my colleagues who are also here. There are a few of them here who are seated, not because I forced them to attend, but I think they thought, they can put it in the KPI, attended the seminar. Because we got a lot of things that make sure that people have to be learning throughout. Okay, so before we start, I just want to ask, anything that any of you all wanted to specifically learn today or understand, do you mind just saying it before we start, in about 3-4 minutes? Anything that you want to know specifically. I've got 43 slides, or 43, there are 40 over areas, but I can fit anything in, assuming I do know what it is. Okay, so if any of you all, don't be shy. Okay, always people are very shy. The idea is not to be shy. And I'll tell you one thing. I like the sound of my own voice. As my wife will sometimes say, maybe you should stop talking and start listening, but she's right. As I always tell the kids, I say, I like the sound of my own voice, so I'll keep talking. And I used to teach for 12 hours in a day. Start at 9 and finish at 9:30. So the thing is, now I'm giving you a chance to speak first. So before I start yammering. So any questions in particular? Yeah. The business plan. No, I'll give you some cheat sheets afterwards. Okay, I can tell you now. And second question, third question, anybody? Yeah. Strategy. Okay. Business strategy, business plan. So somebody stand. That one we can help you. We have a fundraising platform, a crowdfunding platform. It's a good cause. I can tell you what people will give money for and what people won't give money for. We have learned. So if you have something like, we have had before, if it's children, people will give money. If it's, certain people, they will give. If it's things like food, they will give money. If it's things like computers, it's harder because the computer cost is higher, there's less likelihood. Sadly, if it's things like AIDS home to help people who are AIDS patients or prisoners halfway home, they won't give money. So when we speak to you, because we have a crowdfunding platform called Give Back. So during the flood, they gave money. We got 500,000 in 10 days. So actually people will come forward and give money, and we had a few hundred volunteers who actually went out and did the work. So that one you can speak to me. Okay? So that one we can help.
Would you be covering calculated risk in venturing into any business? That is one of the things that
How do you, risk management?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I will cover a lot of things. I will talk about risk, but that one actually later I'll be giving my phone number to you all. So you all can always WhatsApp me, because calculating risk, it'll be a risk if I try to tell you that in front of all this audience without knowledge of the extent of the risk. So if you say, this is it, this is what I'm going to invest, these are the possibility of what I can make, and these are the dangers, that is better. Because it's very risky to look at risk without all the factors at the same time. Okay, so on the business plan, very simple. Nowadays you can cheat. Are all of you all using ChatGPT? Yeah? Okay. So if you can do a nice prompt engineer type thing, just do a nice prompt and give me advice on how to do a business plan, or give me advice on a one-page business plan, it will give you a fairly simple and good outline. There are some very good books these days called the one-page business plan, the one-page financial plan, the one-page marketing plan. These are what I call cheat books. Because you must understand, the old books on business plan don't hold water anymore generally. In the old days, businesses moved at a very slow pace. So you looked at things in windows of 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and so on. Today, in a year, everything can change. So nowadays, I look at things like a one-year plan. Of course, when you go to the bank will still say, give us a 3-year plan, 3-year projection. But to me, we do 3 and 1, and we focus on 1. ChatGPT wasn't around here more than it wasn't mainstream more than a year ago. Now the company valuation is like the highest since SpaceX. Our Elon Musk SpaceX is the highest new IPO that is coming out. The number of people who are using it. So if you look at it, the window has changed. So just go and look, how do I do a one-page business plan? You find simple things and do that. So that it just gives you an understanding. I find the plan is more for you to set out your mission, your vision. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to stand here. Okay, so it's for you to find out your vision, your mission, your strategies. So just put it out in a single page, and these are the key things. When we have this 55-page business plan, this is it, this is what I'm going to do, doesn't serve you much purpose in your day-to-day running, because you will lose half that content. And a plan today, every 2 months, 3 months, you got to look, update, and change. So, please, I feel actually nowadays like this business model generation, that kind of things are more useful, or value proposition models. Those kind of things are more useful. Okay, but actually, every one of these is a 3-hour class. That's the key problem which we have done before. So, let me see whether. Okay, this is quite painful because I've got to get all these things out here. I'm not going to waste time with this because many of you all are not entrepreneurs. Okay, so I just put everything out at one go. Now, this is actually from the Harvard Business Review on a person, if a person wants to be an entrepreneur. Okay, so if you're looking at it, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? And these are 5 areas which they set up. So they start off with on ideas and drive. You have to be creative. Creativity is a key element. You have to have a vision. You have to be able to identify opportunities, and you have to have passion. So these are some of the key things. Now, looking at this, one of the problems I find with many people is the fact that they want to go into entrepreneurship because I want to make money. And there are a lot of these talks. Someone will put up a hand and say, excuse me, okay, can you tell me where I can make money? Now, the question is, you do something that resonates with you, then the money will come. At some point, if you're an investor, like a venture capital person or a person who does investments, you pick up that knack, where that's what you like to do. You invest, you see the business grow, you know how to invest, you know how to pick your businesses, and so on. But you never go and jump into something because you think, where can I make money? Because businesses will go through tough times. You will go through hard times. And in that hard times, you will need your purpose, your passion to take you, over. If you went into something with money, the moment there's some hard time, you will chabut. You will just say, I can't do this, and then you will quit. So you need to have. Vision must be the ability to see things that others don't see. So for a lot of people, when you talk about vision, it's how do you see things? So like, if you look at people like Bill Gates, his vision of a computer on every table. You look at Steve Jobs, how that thing of creating iTunes, creating the iPod, it was seeing things and seeing what he could do. So all this will come into later. People skills, you must have leadership skills, persuasion, influence, and network building. These are 4 things every entrepreneur should have. You must be able to lead your team, okay? You must be able to persuade people to go on that journey with you because you're on a journey, and you can't be on that journey alone. So you have to get people to go on that journey with you. I remember Jobs when he wanted to get the then CEO of Coke, okay? He wanted to get the CEO of Coke to join him. Now, later they had a big falling out, and it got to the point where there was a huge falling out between the two of them. So he went and told him, do you want to be selling basically like sweet sugar water type thing, or do you want to change the world? That kind of thing, to convince him to get on that ride. So you have to be able to persuade not just your colleagues, the people on your team, but members of the public, your customers. That persuasion skill is hugely important. And you must have the ability to influence people as well. And you must be able to build a network. So if you're the entrepreneur who wants to sit down, hide, lock yourself up in the room, not lead your people, anything goes on, there are some leaders. During the pandemic, when the pandemic happened, it's unprecedented. It's a shock. So what many of them did, I just go and stay in the house. I'm under lockdown. I stay in the house. I don't know what to tell my staff. I don't know what to tell people. I don't know what to do. So it's at that time that the leader has to come out. Work style, you have to be very goal-oriented. If you want to run a business, you have to be goal-oriented. Sadly, what kind of sales you want to have, number of customers you want to have, what are your KPIs. Perseverance. You got to challenge yourself. I'll give you a little bit of background. I set up BAC with my wife. We were both set this up together in 1991. I had just graduated. I was 23 years old, 24. We had about 30,000 ringgit in total. No money even to renovate. The money was just enough to pay the deposit. And we started. From the beginning, it was challenge after challenge, which was, at that time when you start, you go and pay the deposit, then they don't want to give, they find a different thing. Then you have a problem when you go and apply. Then we had no funding, and the banks didn't want to give us a loan. But the question is, hence you need perseverance. But that was okay. After 4 years with the 30,000, I sold 70% to a listed company for 10 million. So I had grown the 30 to 10 million within a 4-year span. I then went into IT, technology. We went into a lot of things. I had IT store, I had a phone store and an IT store because in 95 I figured phones and computers will get together. This is long before Apple. We had IT training. We set up the largest business information database in Asia at the time. We had big clients. But actually, you know what was the problem? This was the time when the internet was that dial-up. You dial, and then you buzz, everything. A lot of what we did was way ahead of time. In the 1 year, the first year we had 70 million ringgit of business, meaning projects. And I'm not a technology person at the time, but this was generally in IT. We had 7 GLC government wanting to buy the company. One offered us 150 million for 51% at that time. And guess what happens? The currency crisis. I was 29 years old. I lost 30 million ringgit in 12 days. Totally wiped out. Everything gone. Every single cent I had gone and more. And then you think what to do because you have no more money left. But that's the thing about entrepreneurship. The good thing I have is you must have a good spouse, the partner. So when you are down, she'll support you. When she's down, you support each other. That is a key element. Okay? And of course, a lot of people at that time, like my father, when I sold and I was 29, and then 10 million, he said, you got more money than I got my whole life working. Go and buy some houses and collect rent. You can retire. Of course, none of us want to retire. We want to work until we die, in a sense. We want to enjoy it. So I said, I'm 29 years old, I'm going to retire. So in that key element, we started. It took me 10 years to pay back. And our guys, the company, we were very smart. We took loans from 10 to 15 banks. So I was on the hit list of every bank in town, from wherever bank, Citibank, Standard Chartered, OCBC, Public, CIMB. We were very fair to all the banks. We made sure we borrowed money from everybody, And I always would make sure I must pay staff first, pay the colleagues first, pay everything first, pay our thing last. So I remember there was RHB Bank. There was a case. They sued us. We had 2 cases. They lost. They lost the one with the 1 over million. I won. The other one, I lost. I went back and paid them the 1 over million. So the bank guy looked at me and said, but we lost the case. I said, no, I borrowed the money. Bottom line is, I borrowed the money. And the problem with banks is, you take a loan that holds pay back in 15 years. You don't pay for 3 months because the currency crisis, at the time you get wiped out. Then they come after you to ask you to pay the whole 15 years sum one shot. So how are you going to pay 15 years one shot when you couldn't pay 1 month's installment? But that's how it works. So for years I thought I'll never get a bank loan again. Bought my house with my brother, is the one who actually, the house, I sold something, he took the loan for me, bought the house, then we transferred. But today is different. Today banks want to give me loans for 100 million, 200 million, because now we are more stable. We have built back and come back. So the reason I have these sessions actually is nothing more than I want to share the mistakes I made, things I have learned. No need, they always say you should learn from your own mistake. A wise person learns from your own mistake, but a genius learns from other people's mistake. So I make the mistake, you learn from the mistake. So you need your perseverance, you need your tenacity. A friend of mine always I'll tell people, he came and said, if I was like you, I'd have committed suicide. Because there were people committing suicide when they won $30,000, not 20 million, 30 million ringgit. And throughout that time, I tried to help all these smaller guys because their problem could easily be helped. But the banks were very kind to me. One reason is a lot of them were worried, he's a lawyer guy, be careful with him, Not for anything. They will have the meeting and say, he's fine. But at the end of the day, I just go and sit down, talk to them and say, this is it, we will solve it. You see? So it's an interesting time, but of course it's a time where you think maybe I should just sit down in the house and hide myself. But no, the idea is to come out and confront things. Hiding and running away from your problems doesn't solve anything. You see, and that's why we're stronger. Nice to have learned these lessons when you're 29 years old, as opposed to trying to learn it when you're 89 or 79 years old. Okay, so that's the thing. You got to challenge yourself. You got to have an experimental mindset. If you want to be an entrepreneur and so on, especially in today, you must experiment. You must be prepared to take that risk and go out and experiment and try new things. You cannot be all the time be worried about what is, going to happen. You have to have some level of experimenting. Now, financial savviness, you must be comfortable with money. Some years ago, I had this guy came to sell us his business. He's in the education business. And he wanted to sell his college to us. And he's supposed to have a business specialist and also a doctor. He then talks to me and says, okay, this is my business, I want to sell it to you. We're making a profit of 1 million ringgit. Now for us, we look at 1 million ringgit, then a multiple, maybe the business we may buy for 12 million or whatever. So we are chatting. Then he says, I made 1 million and all. So I said, okay, can you get the financials sent to me? He said, yes. So he calls his office, I think his wife is there or whatever it is, and they WhatsApp. And he WhatsApp straight to me. I look at it. Actually, the business making a loss of more than 500,000, not a profit of 1 million. So I tell him, but this thing is making a loss of 1 million. Huh? What? Really? Where? See? And I sent it to him. I said, you just wife over it, you WhatsApp to me. Oh, how come? Huh? I didn't even know. I'm like, but you're the owner of the business. I don't look at these things. These things my wife looks at. I'm, okay. But now imagine you want to buy the business for 1 million, and now you find out instead of 1 million profit, it's a 500,000 loss. If you want to be in business, you cannot run away from the money side of things. It doesn't mean that, oh, you are, being greedy or what. You need to look. You see, I have made this mistake in times where sometimes I just don't look for a year, this one. There are a lot of things it tells you about the business, and you need to be there looking at it. Background, don't worry about, okay? Okay, so now we start. The first 4 or 5 slides are nothing to do with the generic stuff. Rahul, do you think you can push this back? Because it's preventing me from coming forward. Okay, now. Okay, thanks, Ravi. Okay, brilliant. Now, first thing is purpose. For any business, any of you all here, your main purpose is to try and get clients, and to get customers, acquire customers, maximize the return from those customers, and you want to retain those customers. You want to keep them. That's it. That's the simplest thing if you look for any business. Your idea is get customers, get a return from those customers, whatever it is that they're going to pay you for whatever you do, and to retain those customers. But there's more to purpose. There's purpose. This is why businesses exist. Get customers, keep customers, and keep them as long as you can and get something from them. But there's more to purpose. Purpose is that overarching thing. So like companies like Google, Google's purpose was to be the keeper of the world's information. They want to collect all the information. Amazon's purpose is to be the most customer-centric company in the world. For us in BAC, our purpose is to transform lives using education. So wherever we can democratize access to education, and it doesn't mean that those coming and just studying degrees with us or masters or PhD on those courses. We have trained over 2,000 single mothers as entrepreneurs. We actually, during the pandemic, we had 180,000 school children on our free education platforms. We had SJKC for Chinese school, SJKT Tamil schools, then the government schools, right up from Standard 1 up to SPM. We only took them down about 6 months ago because the fact is syllabuses have changed, content has changed, I have to redo everything again. And the moment the government took off the UPSR and PT3 exam, for those years, 90% drop in number of people attending. Malaysians, no exam, no need to study. And now, all of us, if I was a child, I would also be thinking the same way. The problem we have now is, only after 11 years, they have an exam. The proper exam, the SPM. And at which point, they already forgotten how to take exams. So, you have to find your own purpose. For me, it's simple. From a college standpoint, from education side, our purpose is, how do we transform lives using education? From a personal standpoint, every single person here always say, just be the best version of yourself. If you can't find a purpose to say that I want to do this and change the world, I want to do that, I want to do that, just promise yourself, I'll be the best version of yourself. The kindest, whatever it is, version of yourself is all you can ask from anybody. That's the simplest way. But your purpose is what makes you get up in the morning, not think that I want to die today, I don't want to get up, because you need something that makes you feel like I want to get up and face the day and it's exciting. There's so many things to do. There's so many things. So you need to have some kind of purpose that takes you there. Now, follow your passion but do your homework. Now, a lot of people tell you business, go and do what you're passionate about. Go and do what you're passionate about. I learned this lesson. Everything here is lessons I've actually learned, sometimes very expensive lessons. In 1995, first thing is this, I always like to teach. So I set up the college and I was teaching, it was fine. In 95, I had this passion of setting up, the biggest business information database. So actually, an information database. So we were the ones who put Star online in 1995. We worked with Bernama, with Dow Jones, with Bloomberg, with Reuters, with everybody, gathered all the information, everything, put it on a space, and did it. We had few customers who were big, Shell, McKinsey, the multimedia development. They were quite big customers who came in. But the world wasn't ready for the product at that time, and it was expensive to do. And while it was our passion to do it, we lost millions doing something which is not. So when you want to follow your passion and do something, you might say, okay, I think collecting this one, or I want to, try this recipe. I like ostriches. Then I wouldn't think. I want to make ostrich burgers and sell them. Well, you got to see, do people want to eat ostrich burgers? So you always have to ask yourself, is there a market for your product or service? I have people who can say, I'm thinking of doing this. I don't know whether it'll work. These are 4 questions. Is there a market? Will people pay? If they're going to pay, how much? Will it pay the bills? Okay, so unless you're some billionaire or millionaire or whatever who can just do pet projects for the fun of it, you got to ask, will it pay the bills and will it make a profit? Because bear in mind, if you're a business, your idea at the end of the day, you have to make a profit. If you're working without a profit, some people work for 30 years. And at the end of 30 years, they still have nothing left. 40 years. Just what they earned was just enough to pay the bills. And they themselves don't draw a salary. And I talk to a lot of these people all the time. Just ask yourself these 4 questions. Is there a market? Will people pay? Okay. Will it pay the bills? And will there be a profit? Because an entrepreneur, not a social entrepreneur, a non-social entrepreneur, the business side entrepreneurs, your purpose in life is to solve problems. People have problems, you look for problems. Actually, your job is I look for problems. And then you solve those problems. But in order for you to make some money out of solving the problem. Okay. Now, values. The first 3-4 slides are generic things before I actually go into this one because I feel everybody needs to have this. Values, this is your moral compass. Every business needs to have a moral compass. Okay? And you should run your business by your values, just like you run your life. And if you are that business person who is helming the company, who's running the company, you should make sure, your values should usually be what's imprinted on their company. Okay? So, for me, in every slide, in bold there, is an exercise for you all to do. List 5 to 6 values. So you could say your values will be professionalism. Everything you do, you try to do it professionally. Accountability, taking accountability for your actions. I always give them an example. I think there was this guy who was going to give a talk. At an event. I think it was an IBM event. And he was supposed to speak on Monday. He had arrived in the state on Sunday, and then suddenly realized that there were 2 officers in, I think it was New York or wherever, that's not relevant for the story. There were 2 officers. So he didn't know which office he was going to be speaking at. So he called them on a Sunday. The person picks up the phone. Then he says, no, I'm supposed to speak at 9 a.m. tomorrow at the office. I noticed now you all have got 2 branches in this state. I'm not sure where I'm going to speak. The guy says, hold on, sir, took all his details, and then called him back. A while later, called him back and said, your talk is at this place. This is where it's a talk or a meeting or whatever, it's at this place. So the guy says, it's Sunday today. How come you're there? He said, what do you do? It's Sunday, how come you're there? He said, I'm the janitor. So I'm actually here cleaning the building on Sunday. Then he said, why did you, how come you went and, picked up the thing and took the trouble to find the location and all of that? He said, here it's a simple thing. If you answer the phone, you solve the problem. So once I answer the phone, it becomes my job to ensure that you know the location. I answer and I deal with it. It's a key thing. It goes to show accountability. We have this problem, but there are 2 ways people understand the story. Some people say, I better not answer the phone because then I have to solve the problem. But to me, I always tell this to people we have. Because in a lot of times, unfortunately, when the owner of the store is not there, the colleagues and the rest of the team don't look at it the same way. I've gone to stores where it's like 5:55, the store is closing at 6 o'clock. So we're closing because they just want to close and go home. So their interest is different. They don't really feel like it's my responsibility to stay here to 6 o'clock to close the sale. At the end of the month, I'm going to get the same salary. So why bother? You see? So accountability, tenacity. Now, I think the Star many years ago did an article on my thing and put got to be tenacious. But tenacity is what got me through that difficult period in the 90s when we lost all our money. That is actually what got us through, because you have to be tough and go through that area. Empathy is another good value to have. You have to have empathy for others, kindness for others. So that is another element. And one of the key values, I put the ... is gratitude. Being happy with what you have. A lot of people are never happy. Because if you actually look at it, the nature of people is how to achieve more, do more, achieve more, do more. And as we do and achieve more and more, we want more. So we spend our whole life. Steve Jobs actually put it this way. He said, I don't want to be the richest guy in the grave. That's why you'll see he doesn't have as much wealth-wise as compared to a lot of the other billionaires. He said, I don't want to be the richest guy in the grave. You can't take it with you. You're dead, lah. So some fellows work for $1 billion, $2 billion, and the end of it, where is it? You give to your children. This is the sad part, lah. Our children then don't know how to earn that money on their own, which is the truth. There's less hunger. And that's the truth. For parents who have done well, your kids will think, everything can be there. So that thing for them to work, the Chinese often have a thing that wealth won't last beyond 3 generations. You see, but in some cases, it won't last beyond 1 or 2. You see, so the key thing is, you have to make sure your teammates, your people understand your values. And the values, you have to find your own values. To me, I find gratitude is a good value to have. Because if you have gratitude, you're happy. Be happy with what you have rather than be unhappy. Be kind. Have empathy, with other people. Now, this is the biggest challenge for any business today, how to stay relevant. I tell you why. The pace of change is so fast. And not just businesses, but people. I'll give you an example. Countries have become irrelevant. If you look at many countries who were huge empires at some point in the world, gone. I'm so scared Malaysia is becoming irrelevant over time in the global scale. Because unless we get our act together, we won't be able to compete. Companies have become irrelevant. The ones that are always cited, Nokia, once the biggest phone company in the world. Then Apple and Samsung came in. As the Nokia CEO, he gave a speech when they were being acquired. He said, we did nothing wrong. We worked hard. We did whatever we could do. But they didn't change. If you look at Kodak, Kodak once had 95% of the world market for film. Every cinema was using Kodak for their broadcasting of movies. The film came from Kodak. Digital came. Kodak knew it was there, but decided no need to change, no need to move. We are making money, so we are okay. Gone. In a year, they lost 95% of their value of their stocks, and after which, they had to shut down. Then you have Blockbusters. Blockbusters was the biggest video chain in the world. There are a few thousand shops. Now Netflix has a show that they have actually done on the last few shops of Blockbusters. Blockbusters was the largest. Now remember, later I'll come back to this. Netflix came in with their video on demand. When Netflix first came, they went to see Blockbusters to invest. And that time, they could have got into this at a very low cost. Because Netflix felt they'll be a best strategic partner, the best people for them to work with. They're already in that video business. Blockbuster said, no, they didn't think, who are you guys? Didn't invest. Next thing you know, Blockbuster is shutting down, Netflix grows. Netflix now faces its own challenges because Prime, Amazon Prime has gone in, you've got Disney Hotstar, you've got Hulu, so many of them. But they will do what they are, and the company is worth billions, So the key thing to remember is, you have to see, how are you going to stay relevant? Now, but I tie it up with also gratitude. Sometimes say you have your char kway teow stall, you make your char kway teow, every day you go, you make money, and you're happy. It's fine. You're happy, you go back, it's fine. But other people think, I got this char kway teow stall, I've got the best char kway teow recipe in the one, everybody wants my char kway teow. How can I actually now scale it up to 100 char kway teow stalls? That's the new thing now, scaling. You make 1 stall, 2 stall, 3 stall, you get the model right, you have your model, you franchise. I get 5% of 100 stalls. I don't have to go and make char kway teow every day. I have 100 different people making my char kway teow all over the country. Fellows say, look, you create the brand, you then move. So this is an element of a thing to look at. So keep looking at that one. So how do you stay relevant? Because the half-life of a skill, World Economic Forum has said, has come down from 30 years to 6 years. And some say 3 years. Now what that means is, if you have a skill today that earns you 10,000 ringgit, before, in 30 years, that skill will earn equivalent 5,000 ringgit. Today, in 30 years, in 3 years to 6 years, if you have the same skill, it's already down to half the amount. It comes down to 3,000 to 5,000 ringgit. So that's where the difference is, which is why you have to keep learning. You know, the crowd here, Lily Hu and Yang are doing a lot of classes for people. What do you count the seniors as? Seniors, okay? They do classes for seniors. How to learn how to use a computer, how to pick up a new skill. So because people are now living a lot longer. They're living till 70, 80, 90. You retire at 60, you know. You still got 20 years, 30 years of things you can be doing. So you got to see how are you going to stay relevant. And the only way is to keep learning. You keep learning. Gandhi put it this way: live as if you will die tomorrow, learn as if you will live forever. Okay? Live as if you will die tomorrow, learn as if you will live forever. And the other one is Charles Tremendous Jones. The person you are today and 5 years from now depends on the people you meet and the books you read. So I keep telling people, meet as many people as you can. Read as many books as you can. You know, so you got to keep seeing how you're going to move. Another thing is, you got to learn to fail. People are very scared about doing things because, I might fail. So when you want to do something, it's you ask the question of risk. Take calculated risk, look at it and say, am I prepared to fail and lose this amount? Not put the entire house up there to fail. But the way to learn to fail is actually this: to learn from your failures. Not fail, don't learn anything, fail again, don't learn anything, fail again, don't learn anything. When I failed the last time, I realized we never hedged against the currency. We never looked at it. That was one of the key factors. So that's how we lost money. We had a project for 40 million ringgit. We were buying everything from America. We were supposed to charge 12 million because we do all the installation, the fixing and everything. But the product, the software and all was coming from the US. The ringgit was 250. The ringgit then fell to 6 ringgit plus. So my cost of the item from 8 million became 56 million. And that is with nothing left over to pay staff or pay rental or pay anything. And that's how in a 12-day period, we just lost everything. Because we didn't look at that exposure to currency, and we never expected the currency crisis to whack us like that. So now we make sure that currency exposure is never more than 5% of whatever business you're doing. You know, it's 5% to 6%, but it still will be in millions. When you're exposed, it's still going to be in millions. So you have to look at it. So you have to learn to fail. Actually, nobody wants to fail. But actually, when you fail, there are a lot of lessons there. I'll be more careful with this, I'll do that. So the key idea is not say, I don't want to fail. Most business entrepreneurs, almost everybody has failed at some point in life in something. But the key thing is, how have you learned from that failure? Okay? Then find a mentor. If you want to go and find someone who's a mentor, find somebody who's happy to help, but who also has time and bandwidth to help. That is the key thing. Okay? I actually am the lead mentor for Malaysia for ASEAN, the ASEAN Mentorship for Entrepreneurs. There is a network. So I do. But because there are so many people that we mentor, we don't have the time and bandwidth. So you should find someone who just has 2 or 3 people. The person you find must be someone who actually has your interest in heart, who is not going to be jealous that his mentee may become a 10 times bigger and more successful businessman than him. You know, because that's one of the key problems. A lot of people, you find a mentor, and the mentor is like, this is going to become, I am now a 10 million one, but this business is like going to be 1 billion. Do I really want him to? You must. I have friends of mine from school, my old business partner. Till today, I will talk to him. Because I know there are some people I speak to, they're actually not. Human nature. Jealousy is one, and envy is a basic human nature. If you say you're not jealous or you're not envious or whatever, you're not telling the truth. It is there inherently. There's always, all of us will have some element of it. But I know some friends of mine, really, they have our interest, your interest, 100% heart. In my case, I've got some friends. If they become a billionaire or they worth 10 billion, I'm as happy as, I'll be so happy. So when you find your mentor, you must find a person who's prepared to give you the time, prepared to share his experience, and who's never thinking like, this guy may actually become more successful than me, and I want to hold things back and blah, blah, blah. But you need to find a mentor. I have friends. I don't have a mentor per se, but my mentor is through books. through reading, you see people, you look at it through books. I have very close friends who are also in business. And then I call them and say, hey, somebody offered us this, or someone's offered to do this. What do you think? I know for these people, I will get an honest answer. The other things are ESG. Now, sustainability is a big thing. So your ESG and these kind of areas, you have to look at moving forward now. Okay? Now, what does every business have to do? Today, every business has to look at how you're going to build competencies. So if you look at competencies, HR is a competency, how you're going to manage your people. Infrastructure, finance, technology, scaling, how you're going to scale your business. Going to international markets, project management. There are lots of competencies you need. You'll need to see, how do I manage my money? You might need to see, how do I secure funding? That's a competency. How do I apply for loans? How do I get loans? Okay, that's a competency. How do I scale my business? I've got one business. How do I make it 5, 10? How can I scale? How can I, because that's the order of the day now. You scale. You make it 10, 100, 50, get venture capital in, get money in, go to 500. Some people want to do that. Others don't. Ultimately, you do what makes you happy. But if you wanted to do it, do you have scale? Going out. Like BAC, we were very successful in Malaysia. But then when it comes to the question like, okay, how do we set up in foreign markets to go and attack the market in China or India or overseas? How do we do it? So that was an area where we had to figure out how are we going to learn in order to expand to these markets. Okay? Now, so you have got to list what are our current competencies, then what are the competencies we need. So now we are going on an international thing to expand. So we just set up 4 centers in India, 1 in Myanmar. We've got, I think, 1 now coming up in Brunei. Sri Lanka is under. So I said this year, we're going to set up 100 centers around India, China, these areas. Because we've been sitting here very happy and very complacent because we're doing well. But with the devaluing of the ringgit and things in this one, we figured out we have to go. Okay? So we've got our younger generation of guys in the group now saying, you travel, you go, you secure. So we set a target. And we brought in some people who are more familiar with the international market. So either get competencies in or no signal. Okay. So if you build your competencies, can you go back to this, right? It's going in opposite direction as I'm changing and you're changing. Okay, now, so you identify now what are the competencies you have. So for us, for BAC, our key competencies is we're very good at teacher development, good at curriculum development, good at producing books, course materials, the structure, good at marketing. Those are some of our key strengths, building a brand. So we've got quite a lot of things which are good at making sure that graduates can get a job, producing employable graduates, so generally they don't have any issue. So these are our things. What are the competencies we need to have? How do we develop and center to expand overseas? We don't have, that's not our strength, for example. One of our competencies is actually running projects, fundraising projects, working with NGOs. We've done that very well. So we can list and say, these are all the competencies we have. These are the gaps. And then you fill the gap. Now, this can be just you as well as an individual. You might say, okay, I can do this. So like myself, okay, I'm good at Word, I'm good at PowerPoint, but I'm not great at Excel. So maybe if I need that competency, I build it. So do this not only for the company side, but your personal side. So I have listed, actually this year, 57, I've listed a whole bunch of things I want to learn. Almost like 100 things. I'm always very excited about learning. So I'm now learning to play the guitar. Doesn't have to be that it has to be connected to work. You can go and learn to pick up a language. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can pick up. I put a couple of competencies which I think are important. One is leadership. Leadership is a competency we all need to build. Because if you run a business and you don't have that leadership capacity, you have a problem. So you got to keep calm. The job of a leader is to inspire and empower other people. You inspire your guys, you empower them, get them to do work. Okay? You must be authentic and open. Be honest. Company is not doing well. I had a town hall that day. I told them, hey guys, we were doing very well earlier. We're actually now like falling asleep. We have gone and acquired some companies. We need to wake up and get things back on track. So you have to be honest. You have to think long-term, short-term. You have to make decisions sometimes on very limited information. You don't have all. You cannot not make a decision. Sometimes the worst thing is not doing anything. So you need to make decisions sometimes without all the information. Go with your gut. You need to make tough decisions sometimes, which maybe I've got to close this division down. I've got to close, this space. It may be a tough decision. And a lot of the times, what's the problem? People have an ego problem. The big problem in life, all of us, is our ego. Why are there wars? Of course, forgetting the guys selling weapons who make money off wars, and therefore there's a lot of things in the background as to why wars will keep going, like the lobbying and whatever it is. But ego is a huge thing. Every person has an ego. I was watching yesterday, they did the We Are the World. The We Are the World video, the one they're showing now on Netflix. How Quincy Jones, he had 47 singers coming in. We're talking about Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, so many, Bruce Springsteen. They're all big artists. He put a thing at the door before they walked into the studio. Check your ego at the door. Because otherwise, 47 fellas with big egos, it wouldn't have worked. So I always tell people are always worried about ego and face saving. You set up a restaurant, you're losing 20,000 a month. You're suffering. But you think, if I close this restaurant, then what will my family members say? What will my friends say? Because these are other problem people. They always got something, the first set up the restaurant, he closed lah. They're not thinking, poor guy, he closed the restaurant, he suffered. They actually think, you're happy. That is why bad news sells. If you look at the media, people want to read. Somebody suffered. Somebody did this. They're all so excited. I can't imagine why. Why does somebody else need to suffer for you to feel happy? That's why you look at all the tabloids. They'll be looking, this fellow got divorced, that fellow fought, this guy, this. That's the thing that brings them such great joy. And I cannot understand why people are happy at others suffering. So if you forget the ego, to me, I'll tell you, when I lost all, in 91, I set up the college. 95 I had 10 million. I gatal, went to one shop. I bought a Rolls Royce when I was 28, 29, because somebody had paid a deposit on it and didn't go ahead with the purchase. He then decided to buy a Ferrari. This guy must have raw money. So there was quite a big deposit. So the guy in the shop said, hey, I will take this off. You will be saving a huge amount. So I said, okay, I bought a Rolls Royce. And I'm the best person to buy a Rolls Royce, but one side will be one green slipper, one side will be a blue slipper. I'll wear some torn shorts and drive around. And my wife will say, I'm not sitting in that car. So we bought the car. And then I bought my father a Mercedes, bought my father-in-law another car. And then, fine. Within a year or two, I lost all my money. And for me, it's not like, a Rolls Royce is a big thing. And the guys in the Star and all, okay, it helped. When I go for a meeting, they're like, this guy got Rolls Royce. Okay, we do business with him, So even 20, 30 years later, the guys in the Star, I remember your gold Rolls Royce, I'm not gold, like a beige, whatever. But bottom line is, I lost the Rolls Royce. I parked it there. Okay, Rolls Royce also couldn't pay. I borrowed my father-in-law's Proton Saga. He had the other car, he had the old car, beaten up left, right, here, all dented all over. I drove it for 2 years. I don't care. But out there were people, this one good lah. He was flying high. Now he's come down. Honestly, for me, whether it's a Proton Saga, whether it's a Mercedes, whether it's what, I don't give a crap. It doesn't matter. If you're an entrepreneur, you must be prepared to lose everything. I drive my Proton Saga. Today you see outside parked here is a Mini Cooper Electric. That's my car, parked right in front. Some fellas, you're driving a Cooper Electric. I go for every wedding. My wife and I will go in the Cooper Electric. How can? You should have a car. People will think what happened. I say, I'm happy sitting in the car. It's small, I can park anywhere. But there are others who have something, I can't imagine. You can't be driving that car, I said, it's the only car I like to drive. This one. I really love driving the car. It's small, cute. I can go anywhere. And then they see a large size fella coming out from a small car. It's quite cute, actually. They'll be like, this fella can fit in the car. He looks bigger than the car, But the key thing is, we have to get rid of our ego. Half the time you say, I'll be hiding somewhere. It goes on. It's ego. Everybody's got such a huge, I have to be here. I have to have a title. I have to run here. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to be in front. If we get rid of our ego, nobody will be fighting. You see now the war, Russia, Ukraine, ego. Then this side come. And then when this side comes in, even further ego. All over the place. If people just you're fighting for no reason, There's no difference between us. Race, religion, whatever. Actually, there's no difference. All human beings only. You chop my hand, it'll fall off. There'll be a lot of blood here. It makes no difference. But people forget, end of the day, we are born, we live, we die. That's all. That's the only certainty in life is that. Question is, what do you do with your life when you're around? So when you're a leader, you're guys, but the sad thing is, people don't want to get past the ego. For 70 years, 80, I cannot imagine the nights. You see everywhere. You look at the news, it's so depressing. Not just Malaysia, I'm talking about internationally. Here we don't have to say, Here, Malaysian, none of our fellows got any ego. Okay? So the question is, okay, this thing, I think, okay, we talked about leadership. The earlier one I talked about is, collaboration. We went past that slide for some reason. So the technology. Today, you can't run away from technology. Okay? You cannot run away from technology because it's everywhere. Every single thing we do. But the key thing, therefore, is how do we leverage technology to do things better? We have a lot of things we are doing. I'll give you an example. During the pandemic, when it happened, we had to switch. We were lucky because from 2013, we were running our free education program. So we could move the entire 5,000, 6,000 students online in 48 hours. Then, of course, the authorities called us and said, you're not authorized to teach online. Your license is for a physical campus. So we were like, so are they going to get the virus or what through the internet, Because majority of people couldn't switch. So when they couldn't switch, we could switch. It was a problem. So they say, the rest will say, hey, you all are switching. After about 2 weeks, they then realized. So there were 2 or 3 schools that could switch. The other 90-odd% couldn't. So they said, you can't switch. I said, no, the students got exams. We will switch, and we have to accommodate. When I was in the house, when the pandemic first happened, that's the hardest I had to work. For about 18 hours, 19 hours a day. I love staying at home. Sat at home, in the room, sat down, call. How? Because first thing I think is, how am I going to pay? Our payroll is 30 million. How am I going to pay staff all their salaries? We don't want to cut salaries. We don't want to tell everybody. So that's the first thing you worry. How do I sort them out? How do we communicate with everyone to tell them? How do you organize to work from home? Then comes the next problem. We work with about 200 NGOs. How are we going to do our community work? But honestly, for about 2 weeks, I took a holiday. I said, charity begins at home. We got to look after our guys first. Get our ship in order, then we went out. So during the pandemic, we managed to use technology to help more than 500,000 people. We used technology to raise funds. We used technology to teach 180,000 students. We ran, like what we're doing now is a 3-hour course. At that time, I ran a thing called Project Entrepreneur. We trained 6,000 over entrepreneurs, running online classes. So guys are telling me, I ran a boot camp like this during the pandemic, 900 people registered because via Zoom, everybody is coming in. And people ask me, why you're doing this? I said, no, if we don't keep these businesses afloat, because it's very simple. Businesses are here, you solve problems, make money, but you give people jobs. I always tell people, you end up giving people work. And if people have work, then they got money. And they got money, they can spend money. The economy grows from ground up. That's the simple reason we do it. For me, if we employ 400 people, that's 400 people feeding them and their families. And as they get money and they spend, it helps others. So even any business can employ 5 people, 10 people, 1,000 businesses. You're creating jobs. And that's how you move the economy. Now, the government in the interim will be looking at things like how to help. Okay, I give money. I give 500 ringgit. I give 1,000 ringgit. I do this. I do that. But in the long term, that is not going to help. And SMEs are the backbone supporting 90% of the countries. When I do these seminars, I get a lot of people from other colleges coming in, other universities, sometimes VCs, they'll be sitting there. My guys will be saying, why are you telling everybody how to do? They also, I said, if they learn, it's good. If they learn, it is good. Then we keep learning. So the key thing is to be generous with your knowledge, not be selfish. You don't learn knowledge to die and take it to your grave, and nobody learn anything for you. What's the point? So to me, list all the technological tools you have. I'll give you an example. During the pandemic, we brought in, just before, LinkedIn Learning. So students have access to like 17,000 video lessons on what to learn. We brought in later Coursera. So that's got micro-credentials from like Stanford, Yale, Wharton, whatever, and then brought in. I brought in a global faculty. When the pandemic was there in April, thought about it. I called up my friends who are teaching in Oxford, in Cambridge, in the University of London, called them up and said, will you all teach for us from there? 2 hours every day. Then the guy said, okay, these are people I know after 30 years in the industry. They're the main textbook authors, the number one in their area of law. Until today, this is now going to the 4th year, this September. This is the 3rd year, we continued it. It was something different. Because in the old days, I have to fly them down, often, business class, or fly them down, put them in the Shangri-La Hotel, and then they come and teach like in 10 days, everything. But leveraging technology now, I can get them to teach for us across the year. 2 hours a week, over 15 weeks, just like they're teaching in their own universities there. We tied up with the universities. We then used technology to train 8,000 people in a thing called Project Deep, a digital employee and entrepreneur program, digital enterprise and employee program, which was basically to get people certificates like in full stack development, digital marketing, social media marketing, because some of them had lost their jobs. So it was a reskilling. The government was paying 5,000 ringgit for each of these trainings for 8,000 people. We just provided 8,000, gave the course for free. So there was 40 million ringgit of training that went out. You see? Then we had 180,000 students on free education programs. All of this was done through leveraging technology. We set up a crowdfunding platform. We collected about 3.5, 3.6 million ringgit, which we used to buy food to give out. So between all of this, over about 150 million ringgit was given out, helping about 500,000 people, working with other bodies, but technology was a key enabler. So that is a key thing to remember, okay? So if you are sitting in the business and you're saying, I don't want to use technology, I don't like computers, then susala. Another skill, I talked about building competencies. I just put 3. Leadership, leveraging technology, another one is collaborate. We all have this competitive thing. We want to fight everybody. I want to compete. Everything is, I want to compete with people. I want to look. But the reality is this, collaboration is better. We collaborated with Coursera, giving access to 200 over universities, plus IBM, Google, DMI, whatever. Collaborated with LinkedIn Learning. We collaborate with over 30 universities, from Manchester to Liverpool to Exeter to Queens, 30, 40 over universities as a way to work together. So it doesn't have to be that, you come to BAC, then study with us. By this collaboration, it gives us access. And that's why I'm saying, when you look at business, anything like, I want to fight, I want to start. We've even done a lot of mergers and acquisitions, We have acquired Unimi, which was the university set up by the government in 2013 for digital skills. So we run everything now from foundation in computer engineering to degrees in game development, programming, computer science, engineering, masters, PhD. By acquiring, I don't have to do it. ISCT, the oldest media comm school in the country, the number one, to do things like mass comm, media, journalism, we acquired it. So to me, the idea of collaborating, we look at Reliance College, the hospitality, the oldest ones in the hospitality and tourism industry. So they're all now part of the BAC group. Veritas, is a dual mode university, so we can do online. So when we look at it, so these are some examples. So what's your job as an entrepreneur? Your job is to look for problems that can be solved. And always ask yourself, can you improve, can you do it better or not? And ask yourself, how can you improve the quality, speed, or price? So you either improve quality, or you improve speed, or you look at the price. So I give you an example. Quality may be things like, your BMW, your Mercedes, your whatever, or even electric cars. How can you improve? Speed will be things, especially, simple example, speed is your internet. Can you improve the speed, internet delivery? Can you improve the speed of the computer, the processor, the chip, all of those kind of things? Okay, and price is like you're looking at low cost. Now, it's very hard for you to improve all things. I want to improve the quality, but I want to have the lowest price, and you can't. So you generally, in your business pick, do I want to be known for a high-end restaurant serving, for the elite, whatever it is, 500 ringgit a pax, and it's the best kind of food that you can ever find anywhere, then that's what you have decided. If you want to improve your speed of the service, I have a restaurant can deliver to your house in 15 minutes to be there, or 10 minutes because you got so many. Then speed is your criteria, and price. But all 3 is hard. You can do speed and price maybe. We get fast speed and low cost for internet access. But you got to ask yourself, and I always say, your job as an entrepreneur is when you're sitting in your office, even you're there, look at, maybe you got a lot of stuff, but they don't have great food. They want kueh. And you can say, maybe I can do a kueh business inside this office. Give them tea time, kueh. I can get it in here, deliver, everyone can eat. Nothing. It's a problem they have. They got to go out, they got to look. So keep looking for problems to solve. For us, like for example, we knew during the pandemic, a lot of schools had they had nothing really to teach kids. So for us, okay, we run online classes. They got access. Then we got to say some of them no internet access. Okay, can we work with the providers like Maxis and all to give them some free internet access? Or got no devices. Can we try? At some point, there's some problems you can solve. Some things you can't solve. We can't do everything. So we have to look at it. Next is to ask, how do you add value? Now, people, I'll tell you, nobody buys anything from you because they like you other than your relatives, probably. Sometimes you have somebody with a relative will say, hey, my son just set up a restaurant. Okay, we go and eat in the restaurant because it's our son or nephew. I have to go and eat. But otherwise, everybody is going to be asking you, how do you add value to their lives? What is your value proposition? How does your product make their life better? I always tell them, nobody really cares about us. BAC, they are there because they want something. So you have to look and see, how am I adding value to this one? Why do customers buy from you? And can you create something a generation better? That point number 4 is something I want to look at, to highlight. Whenever in your business, always ask yourself, can I do something a generation better? We would have closed shop a long time ago if we were not always thinking. So I give you some examples. If you look at music, in the old days, I remember in the old days, my dad had this Holden, and we would go from our KL to Kluang. We would sit in the car, and we were small kids. Okay? So sister and I would be at the back as we drive. That time they had cartridges. A cartridge was a big box. The front row people here will know what I'm talking about on this side. Okay? It's a big white box. Young kids will probably look at this thing, coming from a museum. Okay? The cartridge, you had a big cartridge, you put it in. Then song will come out. And when you're 4 or 5 years old, you're like, ooh, how is the song? Is there a little singer singing inside the cartridge or what, Because you're a kid. Then came cassettes. When cassettes came out, smaller. Can put more in the glove compartment now. Cartridge, maybe you can put 3 or 4. Now you can put about 10 or whatever, put it there. And then you have the cartridge. Cassette came out. The thing about the cassette was irritating is the tape will come out. And then you got to get one pen. The big pen. They created the big pen purely to be a cassette organizer. You put it in, and you turn. Then you get, and then it's still, it'll still be bent. Then you pull out. Then after a while, just throw it. You're fed up already. Then, of course, the radio you can only hear will be one station. It's like TV. In the old days, there was TV 1, TV 2. I remember when you were young, you had to watch this show. Then they only have one channel, 2 channels. So TV 2 will show something a little bit. Then when TV 3 came out, all excited. Then slowly, then Astro came out after TV 3. Then we're like, oh, now we can watch things. And there's more to watch, but you still have to watch. I remember in the old days, $6 Million Man, when in school, standard 5, I said, run back, whatever it is, and catch $6 Million Man. Because at that time, no VCR also yet. Later we have VCR, then you got to make sure people tape the show. You tell your mother, tape the show. Then later you could program the show. You have to learn all this, All the young people don't have the fun of going through all this. You see? So, cassette. After cassette came CD. When CD came out, flat, 10 songs, all very excited. Wow, I buy this and I collect. Okay, of course, I've not forgotten records. Okay, my daughter just bought for my birthday, she bought me a few records. Expensive. And a player. She said, I spent, 700 ringgit to buy me like 4 records. I said, this is really insane. I can listen to everything on iTunes. No, it's not the same. I said, no, once you buy this and you buy me a record player for my birthday, now you'll be thinking I have to buy records. She said, no, you have to listen. Okay, I said, don't know what else to buy. It can't be a $10, $20 subscription to iTunes. Now, from that became CDs. People got excited, start buying CDs. Then you had the MP3 player. You can store some music. Now, when you look at all of this, everything is listening music. But then they just ask, what can we do a generation better? The problem with this thing is limited capacity. MP3 player, you can have 100 songs. Limited capacity. The Sony MP3 player, which is modern one, didn't look all that great. So, Steve Jobs and his design team, okay, when they looked at Eves there as his main guy, looked at it and said, let's create something where, but they already had Napster. Napster had been doing it illegally. There were guys who were doing illegal music streaming. They said, let's create a platform where it's legal. We share royalty with the musicians. We create the platform on the phone and do it. This is a classic example of doing something a generation better. It's a classic example. People want to listen to music, whether from 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years, you want to listen to music. But people are asking, what can we do that's a generation better? And that's where the iTunes is a generation better. And it's the same thing for Blockbusters and Netflix. I remember the old days, myself also, we work, 9 to work. Then, want to get some movies, nothing much on TV. Drive to the video shop, Berjaya Video Store, this one, HVA, all these video shops there, Easy Video, don't know what all they have. Okay, drive there. Go to borrow a tape, video, or kind of movie. They only have 4 copies. 3 would have been borrowed out, and then all 4 gone. Cannot get this, cannot get that, borrow the thing. After you borrow it, you take it. 5 ringgit for 3 days. Every day late, another 1 ringgit. Now, of course, the petrol of going there, the time, borrowing the thing, taking it back, and then, of course, the difference between men and women, we will take 5 videotapes because we think we're going to watch 5. Wife will be saying, don't take 5 videotapes, take 2 tapes. Of course, at the end of the day, she will be proven right. Because at the end of the 3 or 4 days, we probably watched 1 movie. Now the other 4 will be on the $1 a day. Then she'll say, take these movies and go and give it back and borrow when you can. I say, just came back from work very tired. So we go, come back, give the thing. Same thing, Blockbuster. People have to drive to the store, fight with other people to get the movie, decide whether you got, go and give back. What can do a generation better? Video on demand. Netflix puts everything online. Of course, it couldn't be done earlier because they did not have the earlier times, you did not have the bandwidth. You couldn't, so a lot of times, it couldn't have been done earlier. But you got to think, what can we do that's a generation better? You got to ask yourself. Whatever you're doing now, every day ask yourself. Because if you don't do something as a generation better, somebody else will. Okay? Now, people first. I'm a firm believer that you always put your people first. Whether they're customers, your employees, the community. There's another thing to add there. Customers, employees, community. How are you going to make sure you're people-centric? And always try to acquire and keep the best talent. Develop and keep the best talent. Now, sometimes it can be frustrating because there are some people, unfortunately many people, it's Pareto's principle. In any company, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. It's a fact of life. And that 20% be wondering what these other fellows are doing in the company. And you tell them, just calm down, unfortunately. And then you'll have that one group of people who do nothing. It's sad. So you try to train, you try to develop, you try to talk to them, you try to give them something they can do. But after some time, you will find it's not easy. You see? So that is a key element. And then put the right people in the right positions. Because I always ask people, when I'm trying staff to teach, I always ask them, my first question is, what's your favorite subject? What's your best subject? What did you do best when you were in university? What do you know? Then, most people wanting a job will say, I can teach anything. I've been teaching for 30 years, I still can't teach anything. So, I don't know, you're just coming now after, I can teach anything. I'm okay, I can do, because they want to say, whatever gap you have, I want to fill. But they don't realize the reason you ask this question is because you want to give them a chance to do what they are best at, rather than them coming in there. So I'll ask you, what's your strength? What's your strength? And some they won't. But I will tell you, okay, I don't know, some time ago, there was a government agency, and we are our top students. One had the top for this prize, the other top for this prize. They joined the government. So this person said, I'm the best at this subject. They gave that person the other division. The other one was the best at the other side. They gave this person this division. Within 1 month, both left. Both left. Somebody said, I want to work in medical division law. Put the other side. This one said, I want to work in criminal cases. Gave her medical. I'm like, why? Why are you giving them the opposite of what they want? So the key thing is you have to understand and see what people are good at. You must listen to it. Nowadays it's flat structure. Everybody in the company has my number. Everybody can reach us. We are a flat structure. We don't know. The days of multiple layers, 55 layers from the top person to whoever is working further down in the departments is gone. Hire for competency and character. To me, I have found now, when you hire people, the best is to hire people for their character. And their competence is one thing, but character and attitude. Because you can teach people skills. You can't change their character. If they are annoying, they will generally be annoying throughout. Very hard for you to change a person who's annoying to become not annoying. It's much harder. But if he doesn't have a skill, You'll be able to teach the person. So if he's got some level of competence, he's got character, go for them. Keep them happy. Look at how it fits with your culture. Our culture here is a bit different. So every company has its own culture. So some people can't fit into a company's culture. So it's not anything. So you may come from a big organization that does a lot. But in our case, we have to look at it from that point. Good people, do your best to hang on to them. If anyone is good, do your best. If they're good people, try to hang on to them if you can. But sometimes good people want to go. They want to develop. Then wish them well and let them go and do what they want to do. So you never hold anybody back. Don't be upset, the guy is leaving. Because a guy may want to leave, he may want to explore new things, let them go. I've got many cases of people who have with us, left us, come back later. But you must give a chance for people to go and learn. And then a succession plan has to be there. You see, if you have been making kway teow for 30 years, then you're going to stop. Your shop stops. What's your succession plan? Your family member take over, somebody else take over? Can you sell your business to someone? Can you train somebody? Train the assistant who was always arranging all the bean sprouts all for you. Hey, I teach you how to now make the kway teow. You take over for me. At least something for him to do. You see? Customers. Ask yourself, who are your customers? Like for us, it'd be school leavers, people who want to learn, adults who want to improve themselves, who want to upskill, reskill, whatever it is. How can you get the right customers? You got to ask yourself. And I use the word right customers. Because the key thing sometimes, a lot of people think every customer is equal. All are same. Well, not the same. Some customers bring you the majority of your business. You may want to look at them. Some customers are worth more trouble than whatever they bring to you. You need to spend a lot of time with them. And you know what? No matter what you do, they will never be happy. And at that time, sometimes you say like, adios, please go torture somebody else. Here, I got this other place. Why not you go see them? I give an example. In the old days, I used to know this person from the UK. Very wealthy, very rich, they were big. She come to Malaysia. They go to Shangri-La, for example. When she goes to Shangri-La, she will definitely have something to complain about. Say the room was going to be ready at 2, but they got it ready at 2:30. And she take a big room, so she went in. How come the room was ready? I came in and I was shocked to see this, make a lot of drama. I want to see the manager. You know what happens? Manager will come because why? Customer is always right word. Bottle of champagne. We will upgrade your room. And later we will hear the story in the evening. Oh, I went to the hotel. Actually for us, we would have gone to the hotel and said, wow, very nice. We are so happy we are here. But find something. I make noise. I create a ruckus. I go, at time now, this one, I go complain. Why? When I do all these things, see the manager. Shout. The manager says, send them a bottle of champagne. Send them some fruits. Tell them breakfast, dinner, tea is complimentary, and then upgrade them to a better room. Then they come, today I came in. It was 2 o'clock, 2:30, half 20 minutes late, the room. I made sure they knew about it. I shouted at this, I shouted there. And after all this, and I'm like, why here? After all that, the business does so much to fall at your feet. The customer is always right. Then give them everything they want. And they do this every year. Every time they come, they do the same thing. And I'm like, really, honestly, sometimes you have to say bye to some customers. Sometimes you'll have one person who will take 90% of your time. And is always, whatever you do, they will be finding it wrong. That's why they always say, acquire customers, try to keep the right customers. As you sometimes go and open up to broader markets to help a broader range of people, you will find more people coming in that can be more annoying. As you go bigger. And this one, every company will have this. So, thing is, focus on the right one. What are your customer acquisition costs? Now, actually, there's a customer acquisition cost. You advertise, you go out, you give commission to agents, you have to know what's your customer acquisition cost. Some people, they acquire the customer, and that's why nowadays, a lot of the new businesses, nowadays, the new thing is new business, don't need to make money. You keep losing money, you just acquire customers. And then you're valued based on potential business from future customers that you may have. The subscription economy, you build, I got 1 million subscribers, and this 1 million. So you're just growing. But unless you're funded by venture capital guys or other guys who can keep throwing money at you, and then you grow. Then you get listed. And once you get listed, you don't make money, you're going to get wrecked. At some point, that business will actually have to turn out. But what's your customer acquisition cost? Some people in a normal business, they spend $10 to get a customer who's going to give them ringgit. So you have to make sure your customer acquisition cost is well within, and looking at your customer lifetime value. How long is the customer going to be with you? So if, for example, for us, we get a customer and we come and do foundation, then 90% of them will stay and do the degree first year, second year, third year. So they may spend 80,000, 100,000, over 3 years or 4 years or whatever it is, or 50,000. So we look at that and we say, okay, we can spend 10,000 on customer acquisition. Over the next 5 years, we'll get back 50,000, so that's 40,000. But I'm not going to spend 10,000 on customer acquisition if all I'm going to get from a person is 2,000 ringgit. So whatever business you're running, whether it's a restaurant, whatever, you have to know what is my cost of acquiring a customer. Okay? Now, sometimes you might say, oh, but, I use TikTok. Even TikTok, there may be costs to advertise on TikTok and the product. And then what you're selling. So you must always know, and what's the customer lifetime value? How long will they buy from you? 1 year? 6 months? 2 months? Are they only going to buy? Say 100 people buy, 50 may only buy once and go off. Will the others buy longer? So these are things to look at. Find out also why customers buy from you. Be the best at what matters most to them. Sometimes I put a lot of things in our products. Frills here, add this, add that. But the customer doesn't care. I come where? Okay, BAC is known for law. They're very good at law. They get a UK degree. It's a more reasonable price. I can get a job. Okay, fine. But meantime, I'm adding a lot of things to them. Maybe they like it. We've got a free gym. We add. We've got 30 clubs and societies. We add. We got Coursera or LinkedIn or whatever, content, the global faculty, the teachers. We are adding a lot of things. As we add, we then look and see what works, what doesn't. But the most important thing is to be the best at what's the most important to them. Design your experience. Today, it's all about designing your customer experience. People come to your shop. But also when you design, it should be based on how much you're just charging. What are you charging? So when you design your experience, you got to see, for example, like from the time the customer. So if you go to guy, obviously now most people know I like kway teow. Okay? So you go to the kway teow guy. You sit there, you get the food from him, how it looks. But if you're waiting for 2 hours to get your kway teow, you got a problem. So you want to see, if your customer comes in, how? He comes to a restaurant. How's the service? Does the restaurant look clean? First, the cleanliness of the restaurant. 2, how friendly people are. 3, how the dishes look. So all of these things are part of your experience. Courtesy, giving the bill, these things. So I remember going to one place in India. I still remember. This was a hotel in India, and I think it's either we had gone for our anniversary or, my wife and I. So we're sitting there. So first I wanted to get some drinks and dessert. And now, obviously, I like desserts. So I think it's quite obvious. So they had some chocolate thing, they had some other Indian type dessert, something. So I told the guys, actually, I like this one, I like this one. I couldn't decide, so anyway, I ordered one. They brought all 3 for me. They brought me all. So we wanted to try all the 3 desserts. But we're only charging you for 1 dessert. I remember that. You see? So if I come to a restaurant, give me 3 desserts. Okay? That's the hidden this thing. No, but on the drinks, they did the same thing. So you want to design. You can't do this for everybody. They sometimes look at it, but you do it for some people. Make somebody feel good. I always tell people, every day do one kind thing for one person. Like that day I was there in the touch and go. The guy in front of me, no money to pay for touch and go. It's happened to me also before. So I ran out from my car and paid for his touch and go. But he was like, oh, let me, take your number. I'll return you back the $2. It's okay, it's okay. But at least something nice for somebody, you feel good. Every day do one nice thing for somebody else and you actually feel better. So design. Innovating new products. So to me, when you grow, you have to look at new product development. Now I put Henry Ford, Steve Jobs there, not anything, because Ford was credited with this statement. Say, I didn't ask my customers what they want. If I asked them, they would have said faster horses. But others say he never actually made that statement, though it sounds like something he would have said. No, when you're doing, a lot of people say when you want to get something to do market research, go and ask people, what do you want? What do you want? People like Henry Ford and Steve Jobs, where they didn't bother asking people because their minds, they were different as to what they saw. So Ford was saying, if I had gone and asked people, what do you want? They would have said faster horses. They wouldn't have thought about the car at that juncture, at that time. Now, be sensible in your product range. Focus on a few where you can excel. Okay, now, a lot of us want to have 1 million products. BAC actually earlier, as Brickfield College, we only had 6 versus companies that had 100. But we were doing far better on 6 products than the 100. Because when you have 100 products, you don't know what to sell. You notice there are some restaurants where they sell one thing, or you go to the menu, it's only got 5 or 6 things. Okay, I don't want to promote restaurants here now, and they do the 5 or 6 things really well. Compared to another restaurant, got 200 items on the menu, and honestly, all of it is just okay. They may have one day, even if they have some 2 or 3 good dishes, in the 200, it gets lost. So one of the things I believe is in niche schools. So like IICT is a specialist in media, communications, journalism. They're good at that. You know, BAC for law is our strength. Now we're quite Unimai is an IT technology school. Veritas is an ODL. Their strength is in open distance learning. Running for business is their core area, and education. You know, so they are core areas. So you focus. Reliance is hospitality. I don't try and take one school and try and do everything under the sun. Each school is a specialist. So we acquired the specialist school, and then we try to help them go to the next stage. So that is the key element. So when you grow, you see a classic example of this is, you compare Sony and Apple. When Sony first started, Steve Jobs really looked up to Sony. Sony was his model of what to do. But Sony made everything. TVs, you know, at one point handphones, phones, everything. You know, the Walkman, everything. Apple came out, I just made the iPod at that point. They got the Mac. Then the iPod, later iPhone. iPhone this. If you look at their whole range of products, you only have like 10 major products that are in the Mac, a business for designers and all of that, the iPhone, the iPod, the iPad. It's very clear, and all these things are linked. They are not trying to say now, let me make a spaceship in Apple, let me make cars, let me do. If they want to work cars, they work with somebody else. And they're talking about the cars, and we come in the future, but they can power the cars. And there are people asking that the Apple car should come out, the whole thing. So now they got the new Vision Pro, which is about 18,000 ringgit. It's like a goggle type thing where you can actually have a 130-inch screen, straight, 100-foot screen from these things, that you wear. They're not selling in Malaysia yet. But the key thing is few products. And do the few products really well. Better than doing 100 of products. But of course, one company has shown that they can do pretty well across now, but because they get a lot of support, Samsung. They are in TVs, they are in phones, they are here and there, but they're still behind Apple in terms of market cap and valuation and profitability, probably because they are also a little bit more distracted. You see? So that's the key thing. Spread the risk. In any business you have, you must spread the risk. Like BAC for us, we were running law only. Look at people like Blockbusters and this and that. One thing. If you're running law only, we got 80% of the market share for law. We're the biggest law school in the country, by far. We can't grow anymore. You see, because it's very hard to, once you have 80%, the 20% is still going to go somewhere. I'm talking about this one. So I said, we can't just rely on law. People in the future, many of them want to do technology also. They want to look at this. So law has got its very strong core, but growth is hard. So that's why we acquired IICT, Reliance, Veritas, this thing, to help grow those schools slowly. So we have diversified our products. Your customers, if you're law, then our only customers will be those who are actually wanting to do law. So now we have diversified. We have students doing IT with us. We have students doing journalism with us, media with us, all. So you diversify your customers as well. Once you diversify your products, you got a broader range of customers. Then your suppliers. Never rely on one supplier. Because when things get trouble, he increases his price by 50%, you are gone. So I give an example. Nowadays there are people, sometimes they are selling a dessert. And the dessert, let's say they only had one product and one dessert. Okay? Because this is a dessert I tried that day. My son-in-law got it for me. So the key thing is, they use Nutella in the dessert. Nothing else. So Nutella is like 50% of the dessert, and it's a lot of Nutella in it. Problem now becomes, if that's your only product. Nutella, with our ringgit falling, the cost of Nutella is going to go up. And then it's going to impact you on the other side as well. So this is a key thing. You can't just rely on that product. It's a great, but if you had 3 or 4, then even if that one is affected, you got your other products to survive on. So never ever have just one supplier, because then if he raises his price, he does whatever, you're at their mercy. You can't do anything. Also, employees. Never have situations where you only have one employee who can do the one thing. Sometimes employees want to be like that. I don't want to share. I won't be the only person doing this. When that employee goes, and not because he said he resigned or he left or what, he could die, he could get a heart attack, he could be incapacitated, he could be knocked down by a bus, anything happen, you're then stuck. because that was the only person that you could depend on. Okay? Resources is another. Even in your resources. So you must always spread the risk. Your customers, your product, you never become dependent on any one person. Identify every player in the field. Now, what do we mean by this? Whoever we are working, whatever, there are a lot of people around us. You got your customers, you got your so-called competitors, okay? We got your regulators, the authorities, you got your partners, you got your suppliers. You should draw a matrix. These are the customers, this is the area. Regulators. So for us, you'll have Bomba, Perancang, Kesihatan, the Ministry of Education, the Higher Education. All these guys were there. And for each one, you have to have some idea, how am I going to deal with all these people? So for example, the fire department. Who is there? Who do we know? How do we deal? You must know every player in the field. Now, for competitors, I want to tell you, okay, you have to know, although I like to say, collaborators, competitors. I want to ask you, who is Coca-Cola's biggest competitor? Pepsi. Pepsi will always come out as the first name, Pepsi. Actually, no. You see, you must reframe your thinking of competitors. Pepsi is not the biggest competitor. What business is Coca-Cola in? The thirst quenching business. Okay? You want to quench, you're thirsty, you have dinner, you want to have a Coke. You're thirsty, you want to have a drink. So they are in the thirst quenching business. As being the thirst quenching business actually is this. Every other beverage is actually their competitor. So people are not making a choice, I drink Coke or Pepsi. There are only two types of drinks in the world. They might say, I drink Coke, maybe I drink Fanta, FNN, I have a watermelon juice, I have a coconut, the young coconut or whatever. I have barley, I have whatever, Asamboy. All of this are actually competition. So every other drink is a competitor. So like for us, when they say, okay, who is BAC's competitor? It's worse for us. They think our competitor is the law school. They'll name the other law. Don't you see our competitor? I said, no. Our competitor is actually every other higher education institution in the country. Whatever they're offering. Whether it's medicine, medicine, engineering, marketing, whatever, business, everyone. Because if a person leaves Form 5 and he decides what he wants to study, he is deciding what he wants to study. Should I study IT? Should I study law? If he picks one, he's not going to do the other one for that 3 years or 4 years. And once he's finished, generally he'll stick to whatever he has done. Maybe for the rest of his life, he'll be in that path. Some may say later, like, maybe I will do law as my second degree, or maybe I got an interest, or whatever it is. And they move. So when I had to go and talk to my guys, I said, stop thinking of your competitor as that guy, that college. I said, there's no such thing. Every person out there, everyone who's fighting for that fellow's attention is your competitor. So whenever I ask people, okay, who's Coke's competitor? Oh, Pepsi. Straight away, Pepsi will come out as the most. Actually, no, it's everybody else that is out there. So you have to look at it. So if you got a restaurant, let's say in Taman Tun or whatever, you got a row of 50 shop lots. One guy is serving banana leaf. There's another banana leaf restaurant. When you ask this banana leaf, who is the competitor? Oh, the other banana leaf fella. This one Raj banana leaf, that one Ravi's banana leaf, or they're the competitors. But actually, if you're going to eat lunch in the Thai restaurant, the Malay restaurant, the Indian, whatever, the Chinese, whatever, all of it, he eats there, he's not going to eat in your place. So all the 10 restaurants there on that road are actually competing for, of course, another way of looking at it, they want to eat Indian food, they want to eat banana leaf. So they're deciding between these two. But they're not going to eat banana leaf every day. Tomorrow they eat something else, and so on. So you got to reframe your ideas on what is a competitor. Okay? Now, work like a startup. This is one of the things I really try and push our guys. Flat structure, minimize bureaucracy. It is very difficult because some people love paperwork. Sometimes government departments and this and that look like they just love to. I push this document there, here. And when people come also from that culture, I must have this done in triplicate. I must have that done in quadruple file. I must do this. You must fill this. It's really painful sometimes. Small teams, quick decisions, focus on goals, meet deadlines, be creative, communication. Whoever you are, start working like a startup. You have to start working like a startup, not like a giant this thing. Keep everything. You must know everything about how your business works. If you are the boss, if you are learning the thing, you don't have to know how to do everything. You have to know how every single thing in there works. Okay? Now, next one, operations. Okay, here, all I'll just tell you is one simple thing is, put your business, create systems. We are now doing this. A lot of the time, I'll tell you what's the main problem you face. there are many people who want, you see, human beings are quite different in the sense that you want to feel wanted, and you want to be the only one in control. And I sometimes try to tell them, oh, I will sign the letter. They're like, okay, and if we don't come to work? No, I will always be there. I'm like, okay, and if we get knocked down by a bus and die tomorrow, I will come back, So I'm like, what? I said, if you do this for the next 20 years, you'll be in the company signing this letter, issuing this offer letter. I want you to share with other people how you prepare the letter and go ahead. So now later it's computerized, the template is there, you can pull out, someone can put in. But a lot of people feel, oh, if somebody else learns to do what I'm doing, then I'll be out of a job. That's the most stupid thing you can ever think, Because for me, if you can teach somebody else what you're doing, you can move to another job. You can be promoted. You can go and take, like in our case, we have 20 over companies in the group. Refugee College is just one of 20 over entities. There's so many different things here. You can be promoted. You could become a CEO of a division. You could come. But no, but their mindset is, I don't want to share. Then they won't share. Then the agreement, we're trying to tell them, but they're very difficult. They don't want to tell us how. They want to insist only they must sign. So, okay, you'll be there for the next 20 years. You get promoted. But people don't want to share. And if you think your only value is that in the company, then the company will also think the same of you. So you must systemize your business. They say put in system and processes that a 16-year-old can run your company. We have challenges. I'll tell you why we are having a challenge. We had BAC. We had 100 staff. We were running. Then we acquired ICT. Then we acquired Veritas. Then we acquired Reliance. Then we acquired a college in Singapore. Then we acquired Unimai. Every time you acquire a university, you acquire 60 staff, 70 staff come in. Everybody has a different culture, a different idea of work, a different way of looking at things. And then comes the point of you trying to say, can you do it our way? So I remember, like sometimes when you get people, we are very, open with like students. You come and say hello, we're friendly. So sometimes a student walked into the office. What? They can walk into the office? What is this? In our old place, you got a sign out there, no admittance. So, so it's a different culture. You should put up. Then next thing I say a sign up there, no students allowed. I said, this is a college. Why is there no students allowed here? No, that person put it up. The students have to stand outside there, then we go out. They cannot come in. So then I tell them, but that's not how we do things here. We are different. But you see, it's an idea of learning and a matter of looking from each other. So the problem we have is, from 100 staff, we have now grown by 300% to 400 staff in the last 2 to 3 years. Different culture, different way of looking at things, We run a lot of things on Saturdays and Sundays. They have a thing, maybe I work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Why is this new boss of mine asking me to come and work on a Saturday, 10 to 1, and then you're running things on Saturday. Why are we running projects? So slowly, because when you bring one person, you hire one person for character, you hire one person for attitude. In many cases, I'm hiring a lot of people now who are our ex-graduates. A lot of our graduates, because they studied with us, they know us. So slowly I'm getting more and more of our own graduates in because they understand our way of thinking. Go out and do community work, go out and do help. Others don't. But sometimes you get a person who's 60 years old, 55 years old, trying to get them to change now. No, we do things differently here. They say, I don't care what you do, but I've been doing this for 20 years. I will try and manage. Supply chain. Now, this is your supply chain risk. Okay? List all your current suppliers. Talk to your critical suppliers about the ability to deliver. Identify backup suppliers. Okay? Confirm your levels. Monitor your inventory. A lot of time you waste a lot of money on overstocked inventory. Even we have done that. Like during the pandemic, you buy things, and you got 300,000 ringgit of stock in the bookshop. And during the pandemic, it's not moving. And once it's not moved after a while, new books come out, new editions come out. You got to figure out how to get. So whenever you look at your inventory also, talk to your suppliers, get multiple suppliers, arrange your supply chain, make sure it's there. And sometimes now, there may be breaks in the supply chain. Then you don't have the items. So this is a very important part of any business, managing your supply chain, your suppliers, your cost, that whole thing. Okay? Now, market your business. And you want to think, I set up a business, everybody come running. Generally, sometimes it does happen. People will market your business for you. But you've got to actually see, how are you going to market your business, and how are you going to differentiate your product? How are you going to let people know what are the benefits that you have that others don't? How are you going to acquire customers? How are you going to price your product? Pricing is a very important area. Actually, I just give you a simple example. Sometimes I feel, we do a lot of training for single moms, which we run. We've trained about 2,000 over women entrepreneurs. Sometimes they're working, but they're hardly getting anything. Because for them, they don't understand basic concepts like brand, basic concepts like how to price a product, basic concepts on the finance, basic concepts on marketing, all of these things. So I give you an example. Let's say you're selling your goreng pisang at 1 ringgit, but the cost to make the goreng pisang is 90 cents. So now, when you have this 90 cents, you make 10 cents. But sometimes what they do is they give discount 10 cents. Then they sell the goreng pisang for 90 cents. Don't make anything. Then the idea is churn. How many goreng pisangs you can make? I make 10 cents, 10 cents, I make so many, then I make. But assuming your goreng pisang price was 1 ringgit 10 cents, by making a 10 cents increase in the price, of course if the market can take it, okay, you have now doubled your profit from 10 cents to 20 cents. Customer is paying 10% more, but you double your profit. So there are a lot of times I look at the things of pricing and be fighting with all the others in the office or from finance and sales. I say, hey, we're starting this amount. If we look at this, now if we charge 10% more or 5% more, actually our profits will go up by 20% or 50%. It's simple things, but you have to get your pricing right. Some people, what they say is, I discount, I cut, I discount. Suddenly you're discounting, you have to sell double the products to make the same amount of money. More stocks, more inventory, more hours cooking. So I remember there was once a school here, 1 year they tried this. They had their product, they were pre-U, and it's a big school, you know. They came out with the idea, we will give 50% discount on the course. Nobody thought. They had 1,000 students on the course, they gave 50% discount. They still had 1,000 students. They lost 19 million ringgit that year. You know, of course, customer, I think. But once they got this, they now, if you had double at half the price, you need to get double the teachers, double the infrastructure. You can't cope. But in their case, what happened is nothing happened different. Same number of people studied with them. At the end of the day, no difference. So I often be fighting our guys, we saying, oh, give them a discount, don't discount. If you do, give value. Discounting to me is not. So like during the pandemic, when some people were discounting, oh, this, I say we discount on people who have no money. People who have no money, ask them for documents, we help them financially. But we don't just give a discount for the sake of giving a discount. We add value. Add in things like your LinkedIn learning. Add in things like the lecturers from the UK. We invested, I think, 8 million that year on online provision. It was not cheaper. You know, all the things extra that were brought in were about 8 million ringgit every year. And now, all those things are added into our course. From videos to Turnitin to Panepto to a digital library, getting every book that we had in the library, find the digital version and create a digital library. Set up a team now for online. We've got fully about 25 people. Earlier it was 6. Now 25 people who just make sure that we can do everything online. So market your business. This one is actually a course which I run, which is a 3-hour thing on the big questions. I call this the business engine, okay? Which is basically, number one, every business has to ask these questions. It's a 3-hour thing that actually will help you double your profits, triple your profits. But today there are 40 slides. This is one of 40 slides. Is every business has to ask, how will you increase your leads? So I'll use a simple example of a restaurant. Let's say you have a restaurant in Bangsa. You just set up a restaurant and it's there. You have to ask yourself, how will you increase your leads? Now, you could sit there, open the restaurant and think that everybody's going to find you, oh, there's this new restaurant here serving Thai food. Okay, But how do you increase your leads? By trying to market to as many people as possible. So, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, use low-level costs. You can't be putting a big giant billboard, so it's one restaurant. Okay, it's not like your 300 restaurants. Find what is there to increase the number of people. Because let's say we have 50 people who come to a restaurant. By letting more people know, you can have 200 to 300 people who may consider. The second one is increase your conversion rate. When you increase your conversion rate is, when the customer comes, he stands outside, he says, I know about the restaurant. But increase your conversion rate is when he comes in and decides to buy something from you. So now when they look and see how your restaurant is done. Now if your restaurant looks too high class, and someone told restaurants where I saw it seen from outside, the seafood restaurant, I said, well, this must be really expensive. I don't go. But actually later, the thing is fine. So you also got to set up your premise in a way. If you make it look too posh, people might also be put off thinking it must be very expensive, I don't go. Okay? So how will you increase your conversion rate? So if earlier you don't do anything, 50 fellows know about your restaurant, and maybe 10 fellows will come and eat. But once you have actually advertised, now 100 people know about your restaurant. And if your conversion rate, say 50 to 10 is 20%, 100 fellows know, now instead of 10, you have 20 fellows coming. Then comes the next one, your average dollar sale. How do you increase what each customer will buy from you? So that's where you got your dessert, your entree, your appetizer, your starter, all of this. So, okay, I've got this. But the classic example of increasing average dollar sale is McDonald's, which is, would you like fries with that? That is their famous. You know why? You go and buy the burger. Would you like fries with that? Their cost on the fries, their profit margin is almost 90%. So when they buy when you say yes, they got a 90% profit margin on the top up and the number of people that come in. Now, we also have learned from this. So we'll tell a student, we offer you A, but would you like this? Now, the extra thing we are giving them is at a great value. It may be something may cost them $10, but now they're getting at 5, or they're getting at 4. So that is a key element that they actually have to look at. Now, the next one is, how do you increase the number of transactions? If a person comes and eats in a restaurant once, fine. But how do you get him there all the time? So like Baskin Robbins, last time on the 31st or 30th or everyone 31st, they got a 30% discount on whatever that you come on that day. And that's something that they use to increase to get more. So you have loyalty programs to get people to come in to buy more things from you. For example, how do you increase retention of customers? The customer lifetime value. I give a simple example. The school business is one of the best businesses to be in, the primary and secondary school. A student comes in 6 years primary, joins in Center 1, 6 years to be there. Goes to secondary, he's there for 5 years. He's there for 11 years. Then they offer pre-U, A-levels, whatever, he'll be there for 12 years. It's very fixed, it's very stable, and it's there. For us, our customers will be with us generally for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Now what we have is we have master's programs, we have doctorate programs. We have now what this thing called our All Access Pass, which we are launching, which means students pay 1,000 ringgit, they can attend 100 over courses over the year. So instead of paying the normal style, you pay 2,000 for a course, 3,000 for a course, 1 2-day program, under HRD Corp and all. Instead of that, I'm just saying, I want people to learn. So let them come and learn 100 over things. They want to learn project management, learn design thinking. So we've introduced now, it starts 1st April, an All Access Pass. So in March, they have, it's going to change the way training is done. If they pay 2,000 ringgit, they get LinkedIn, they get Coursera, and this. Coursera alone costs 2,000 ringgit. LinkedIn costs about 1,500 or 1,300 ringgit, plus 100 courses. So I'm actually calling it limitless learning. You can learn from home, you can come to college, whatever, for people, because people need to be developing. So this is the thing. But for me, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep our customers for not just come and finish a 3-year degree and I chabut. You see? So for us, it is keeping in touch with our alumni and then giving them something that they can do for a whole year for just 1,000 ringgit. So each costs about 10 ringgit. That's it. It works out. If you want to come in and you want to network with friends and see people, that's it. So, and then you can also do your Coursera certification, your LinkedIn. So all of that will be there. If they do 2,000 ringgit, they get everything. So to me, it's always about how do you give more value for less money. So you got to see how do you increase your customer lifetime value. How do you keep people there for a year, 2 years, 3 years? So some people, you come, you buy something, they don't even get your number. They don't even get your name. They don't even bother to contact. But when somebody has come in, you want to build a relationship. And companies understand that there is a need to build a relationship, to speak to you. Then how do you increase your margins? So you can have different products. Some product, maybe your profit margin is 10%. Other products, your profit margin may be 30%, 40%. So you want to sell more of your high margin products. Of course, you're also mindful of what the customer can pay. But these questions, this one is actually, I run a 2-hour course just called the Business Engine, which is actually for each one, like how to increase your leads, I'll show you 50 ways how to increase. How to increase your conversion rate, I'll show you 30 to 40 ways how to increase your conversion rate. Simple things sometimes. Good sales stuff, understanding the sales knowledge, how your reception, how it looks, your testimonials from your customers. There's so many there. Every one of these has 30, 40 different things. So every slide here, actually, for someone like me who can talk a lot endlessly, which you have found out by now, every slide here can be a 3-hour talk. Now, growth mindset. In the future, how are you going to grow your business? New products, okay? New customers and current customers. I'll tell you, customer acquisition cost normally to get a new customer is 5 times more than keeping a current customer. So when you have a customer, try to keep the customer. As I told you, except the problematic ones. That one you be praying, please go somewhere else, please, okay? So then new markets, new channels for distribution. How are you going to, new technologies, new collaborations, partnerships, merger. How will you grow? You must ask yourself. When you have this business, and also whether you want to grow. To me, I remember I was talking to you about gratitude and happiness. There are people who are happy having one shop. I do this, and I have peace of mind. So unless you're like that blockbuster shop who's later then kicked out by Netflix and you close down, then in which case you do something, I want to say different people are happy with different things. Always do what makes you happy. Not that everybody must, I must have 300 shops, then only I'm happy. The fellow with 300 shops may be less happy. He got a lot more headaches. He's subject to a lot more financial loans and other business and headaches and staff to look after. So I always say do what makes you happy. Doesn't mean you got 1,000 shops, you're happier than a fellow with 5 shops. Guy with 5 shops is just chill, relax. I come, I go back at 4 o'clock, I spend time with my family, I'm relaxed. But for other people, that's not for them. So in anything in life, do what you want. I always tell people, I haven't worked a day in my life. I enjoy what I do. I really enjoy what I do. I like teaching, I've been doing it for 30 over years. So if you do what you enjoy, you don't have to work. But not everybody gets a chance to do what they enjoy. That is a key problem. So when you look at it, so like for us, for BAC, what we are doing now, I'll tell you, new products and services. Because we have now got Unimi that just come in. Unimi now gives us a foundation in computer science and computer engineering. We have a game development degree, a digital marketing diploma, a computer science degree, a master's, a PhD in software engineering, a PhD in management. It's there. You see, so these are new things. Under Veritas, we have got our MBAs, our MBA in digital marketing, digital transformation, corporate law, a master's in law. These are new products. So because BAC only has 6 products, as Briefers call it, we only had 6 products. So by acquiring these other schools, we have now created the ability to have, within each specialist school, more products. So some of our students who did degree are now saying, hey, I'll do the master's. Some have done the MBA, now say, I'll do the DBA. It's fine. So you make sure that the pricing is very good for them and for their loyalty. Now, then new and current customers. So new markets, this is one area we're looking at. We are now gone to India. So 4 centers are open in India. December, January, we open 4. Next week, I've got 2 more people coming down from there to sign up. So they set up the centers there. All the teaching is done from here. We do the teaching online. They got the digital library, the access, the class, the assessment. Everything is done from here. Their job is to recruit students, have a place for students together, so it looks at that. It's good for them, good for us. But to this, I set a target of 100, but we're looking at 50 centers will go up this year. It then gives us a chance to earn in US dollars, and we're looking at an international market. But the reason I can do this is because we now have this open university and our Singapore college. These 2 are the ones who are going there. But I'm using all the strength we have in BAC to support for terms of marketing, for content, for digital. We have an e-learning company. And our e-learning company at one point had about almost 200,000 students on it. So that expertise is there. So we look at it. So our new channels also is this. These learning centers in all these countries will be our new distribution channels to distribute the product. So these are the kind of things we are looking at. We've got all of this. If we don't find a way how to go and use it, now for those guys, the benefit to them is this. If they were going to go and try and find 30 universities to tie up with, if they were going to try and create the digital library, it would be impossible. They'll have to invest millions and about 10 years of time. So for them, working with us is a win-win for them. So we give them money, we also get money out of it, and we look at it beyond. Now, brand. For me, branding is superly important. Okay? Branding is one of the most important things. Your strongest asset is your brand. And there are 2 brands here. Your personal brand as an individual and your business brand. These are 2 things you have to understand. Okay? Now, from your personal brand, okay, when you go out, it's how, your brand is how others perceive you. And your brand is, don't think like, your brand is only this. Your brand is every interaction with another human being, whether online, whether face-to-face, is your brand in action. How you talk to people. So when you're out there, just be nice. My thing about this one is, I don't see why, some people are just mean. They come out, like football, one player missed a penalty. Oh, I wish you died, your parents died, this one, all sorts of things, So much anger. You think the guy wanted to miss the penalty? You don't think the fellow feels worse than you feel? His country is there in the finals of the World Cup. He took the penalty and he missed it. And before that, if he played like that for 90 minutes, gone. He took the penalty, he missed the penalty. The amount of hatred online, you see, you feel sorry. But what I cannot find is, how can people say such bad things? But it's there. People think when they go and post things online, nobody sees it. They're like, oh, you saw? Oh, I just simply. People feel like join the bandwagon. Saying mean things is more popular, than saying nice things. It's sad. But to me, what I want to say is, in your case, your brand, I give an example of brand strength, Coca-Cola. I read, there was a book called 10 Commandments, there's a book based on Coca-Cola. The guy said actually at one point, years ago, and Coca-Cola has got their own flag for a lot of people attacking them for, that it's sweet, you got this issue, that issue, whatever. But Coke is also the owner of the largest water company in the world. They understand they're in the quench thirsting, in the thirst quenching business. They understand. So they actually have multiple entities. So they also own the largest company selling water. They are also done a lot for the environment, to ensure neutrality, in what they're doing. The guy said, Coca-Cola's brand was so strong, okay, that if you destroyed everything, you burned down, destroyed every factory that makes Coke in the world, destroyed all what they had, but just kept the logo and the recipe to make Coke, they could, and this is more than 10 years ago, they could walk in and get $80 billion of funding with nothing but that. That is how strong a brand is. For me, when we had BAC, in the early days, what happened is this. In the law teaching type of time, they used to have what was very well referred to by one of the UK guys as a sage on a stage. A sage on a stage type approach is this. The so-called teacher or the guru or whatever it is, they will follow you. So I was teaching, my wife was teaching, my brother also teaches. So we were people who actually would teach. Now, in the old days, in the law, like ACCA exams, CIMA exams, the law exams and all, they were run on the basis that one group of teachers will teach here. Then somebody else will offer the teachers. Now they say you take 50% of the fee. Then somebody will say, I give you 60%. The 4 5 fellows will jump to place B. After a while, somebody will say, I give you 65%. The 4 5 fellows will jump to place C. Now, of course, all this time, none of these fellows are trying to build the school, make it better, look at anything. They will run there, then they'll tell the student, okay, you go photocopy this one and come back. We survived because we were teachers. So whoever went, I could teach anything at that time. Anyone goes, I said, I'll just teach the subject. No problem. So we will. Then I said, this is the wrong way. It cannot be, the sage on the stage, I could teach under a coconut tree, people come and see us. That time, because when the CLP exams and the one, we had the best pass rates. So you want coconut tree, stand under the coconut tree and teach people, they will still be students there. Because they know we know how to help them pass. We get the best pass rates for the law exams, this one. But I said, there cannot be this one. So what do? I said, I'm going to build a brand. And I'm going to build a brand that's going to be bigger than all of us here. And the brand is so strong that if anybody goes, they know nobody is going to go with them. And that's what we did. BAC became the first law school, and after which 8 of the other schools had to close down. They actually had to close down finally because we said, we create the brand. So all the best teachers then start coming here. You got the number of students, you got the strength, we've got the thing, and that's how we grew. But the thing is, because what I found is, the important thing has to be the brand. Because to be fair to students can't be hopping around from place to place as these people move like nomads because they never cared about anything other than this guy will say 60%, or 65%, this will say 70%. And then in the nobody invests in the school itself. Because the guys in the school are getting 30% because they got the license and the premise. So they won't bother investing in books, they won't bother investing in technology, and the teachers are I just take my money and go back as an earning. So you never invest. So to me, I always say, you build your brand. Your brand is your most important thing. You build your brand. Not just this, your personal brand. When you go out, talk to people, be nice. Go out, talk to people, be kind. Some people might say, okay, like people remember rude people, but to me, I don't know, it's just not my thing. Timing is everything. This is to remember that when you do a business, like I told you in the 95 and 96 when I started the IT business, we set up the biggest business information database. And one of the biggest jokes was we went, I think, to different countries. So if anyone wanted to know anything about any Malaysian, that time you just come in there. You key in his name, you would have his whole profile, all the corporate figures, 5 pages on them, name, wife's name, children's name, all this we got from multiple sources of data. If they wanted to find out, so it became a tool that they could use. And we had all sorts of different things in. And we had all this content. We went to Sri Lanka, to what was their number 1 telco, to the CEO of their biggest telco, we log in online. I'm not kidding. For 40 minutes, they couldn't connect to the website. Because that's how internet was 30 years ago. So we had this great product. I think we went for it, then we went and had coffee. And came back and then the page is coming out. You all a bit slow now, you complain. Then I looked at it and said, we created this product for a worldwide market. The net is not even ready. So timing is important. I'll tell you, if Netflix, Uber, Grab all were launched 10 years ago here, all would have failed. Because you wouldn't have been able to get, even now sometimes you can't get, coverage. You can't get internet. 10 years ago, what we did was, a long time ago, infrastructure wasn't ready. So you must see, is this the right time? Is the market ready? Sometimes, if you've got a lot of deep pockets, you can launch something and wait for people to catch up. Otherwise, you can't. Practice inside, outside leadership. In every company, there's the person inside and outside. So I give an example. The person outside, his job is to go out, talk to people, like Steve Jobs was although he was inside pushing his team members, he's the outside face at that time of Apple. But there are guys inside who are managing things. If you look at Microsoft, even in Malaysia, there are companies where there's one very outspoken person outside making a lot of noise, but there are people. You need two. Somebody has to man and look after, somebody has to man the store, to look after, to make sure that everything is being done well inside when somebody goes out. If you don't have these two, inside, outside leadership, you have a problem. Now, these are just functions of departments, which is fairly standard, nothing great here. Now, know your numbers. Any business, the most important thing is your numbers. I myself sometimes find main KPIs, like your number of customers, your pricing, your customer lifetime value, your margins, your expenses. Today, data analytics is a crucial skill everybody has to have. You can't run away because you got tools like Power BI. This gives you capacity and the ability to find out a lot of things. Instantly, you know what are our figures like, what's our bottom line like, our margins growing, should I change my price by its own? I myself, honestly, this thing that I'm doing well today is also a revision for me. When I set up the college in 91, I sold it in 95. For 8 years, the listed company, they come in, they lost money. In 2003, actually, they wanted to close down the college. They said, enough, all of this, we just closed down the college. And forget, because they had a lot of problems and other issues to look at. I then told them, sell it back to me. I set it up. I still had a minority stake. I will take it. I will buy it back. I had no money. I lost all my money in all the other things. So I said, you give me time to pay. I'll pay you by installments. I will run it, earn money, and then I'll pay you back. So 4 years. I took it back with a 1.2 million loss. In 12 months, we broke even. The first year, we made 1 million, then 5 million, then 9 million, then 16 million, then 23 million. It kept growing. A lot of what I shared today, especially like the business engine, increasing your leads, your conversion rate, your average volume, are what I used. But sometimes we also get older. As we get older, and I grow from 100 staff to 400 staff, a lot of them don't understand a lot of these things. And I myself took a 1.5 year sort of break. I just built 2 houses. I totally renovated. When I say build means, I choose everything. I have 32 contractors to deal with, do the flooring, do everything. It took me about 18 months. So I want to build a house I want to stay in for the rest of my life, however long that is, 5 years or 10 years, 15 years, don't know, okay? But I just said, I want to build a house. After all that work, I wanted to do something. So I took 1.5 years where I just come in and look at a few things here and there, and you assume that everything goes well. Then when you come in, suddenly what happened here? People are not looking at the basic lessons. That I am not looking at the basic lessons of, I look at a couple of things and we assume it's okay. And partly because BAC has grown. We are very profitable earlier. So because we are profitable, you then become complacent. So to me, that's why I said this is a wake-up call for us. But to me, I just tell them, you guys come in, let everybody else come in and also learn. You have to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you're hiding your son, you'll have a problem. I always tell people, I come back, within 1 month, I can increase the profits by 100%. Just by this. The levels of making money are very simple. You need your people, you need the idea, and you need to A, B, and C. This will actually increase things by 50% to 100%. So because I'm not crazy about money. You have to have money, but I'm more interested in, the journey is more fun for me. So these are things you got to ask. How will you increase revenue? The business engine is what I refer to as how do you increase leads, increase conversion rate, your average dollar sale, your number of transactions, and your margin. These 5, 6 things are the most important. Sell more to new and current customers. So you look at it. So your current customer is there. He has finished his degree. Offer him a master's. He has finished his master's. Offer him a doctorate. Keep him there for 8, 9 years. Because we're actually lifelong learning partners. And today, I want to tell you one thing. If the guy is not learning, okay, his value is depreciating on a daily basis. This is not, when the older people, like, when we were there, you could go and study law, be a lawyer for 40 years, medicine, be a doctor for 40 years, engineer, whatever. That day is gone. The pace of change is so fast. That's why you've got this Darwin. Darwin put it is not the strongest nor the most intelligent of species that will survive, but the one most adaptable to change. So it doesn't mean you're strong, you're intelligent. It's the one most adaptable to change. And today you got ChatGPT coming out, this coming out, that coming out. It all makes the capacity to learn and the things so much faster. So if you sit there with the knowledge, we can't teach you everything in the degree. But I tell people, you need the degree, you pick up skills. But we are now very skills-based. So when they come in, we know what are the next 30 skills that people need for the next 10 years, 20 years. We pump that in. Toffler put it this way: the illiterate of the future will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who can't learn, unlearn, or relearn. So because that capacity is there, when we sell some product to our students or we sell in the market, it's not because, I'm going to make money out of it. We're trying to see what's in it for him. How is he going to learn something new? It has to be win-win. It cannot be, I want more money, I sell you a product. As I told you, how are you going to add value to your customer's life? So sell more to current customers. So like McDonald's, I sell the fries. I make some extra money. Customer gets some fries at a cheap price of 1 ringgit or whatever the cost is. You see? New products and services. You have to look and see. What? Pricing. As I put there, the simplest and most effective way to increase profits. I give you an example. Let's say I'm selling something now for 10,000 ringgit. But the cost for me is 9,000 ringgit. Just now I told you this is the goreng pisang or whatever it is. 9,000 ringgit. Now, if I increase my price by 5%, 10,000 ringgit now becomes 10,005. Everything the same. My profit has now gone from 1,000 to 1,005. It's a 50% increase. If I bring my expenses down by 10%, from 90 to 81, I got 9 ringgit there. So with the 9 ringgit plus 15 ringgit, from what was 10 ringgit, I now got 24 ringgit. But the problem is people don't realize, sometimes the most simple of things, we don't realize. And when you become a company that's making profit 20 million, 30 million, whatever, everybody becomes, we need 10 more stuff. We need 5 more of this. We need to buy this. And then everybody starts spending money and the expenses just start going up. And there's inflation. And the prices, there's bonuses, there's increments, there's whatever it is, it will increase your prices. And unless your business goes, and if you keep the price the same, you have a problem because the cost of everything that's in your business has gone up. You will start losing money. So instead of 10, now become 5. Your expense went from 90 to 95. Now your profit has gone down by 50%. It's as simple as that. But even I have lost. Sometimes I don't look. I take a year off, 2 years off, I don't look. I tell people, every year in the early years, I'll tell them 1 month, I say, I'm not coming, I don't want to come to the office for 1 month. You know why? I'll just tell them, I'm not coming 1 month, you all manage. You do whatever it is, you manage. Because I want to see how they run and do things. Doesn't really work. They will suddenly call me. They will WhatsApp. So I said, don't call me for a month if you can. But I'm also a person, I'll just keep looking at things from the background. They will call and WhatsApp. I said I'm dead. When people are dead, you can't WhatsApp them. You know? They're WhatsApping a dead guy now. When I'm really dead, I could be knocked by a bus and die tomorrow. So I'm just telling them, you have to assume I'm dead now. For 1 month, you guys manage. Then, after that, usually after the 1 month I come back, I say I shouldn't have died. I should have stayed alive. You see? So, I mean, the key thing for us is we never get angry about anything. We never get excited. It's all fun. You learn. Collect your receivables. Sometimes one of the big problems is collecting receivables. At one point in time, we may have 3-4 million ringgit of students who have not paid fees. And we want the most tolerant. But after a few months, when they ask for the fee, they get angry. Why are you asking for money? Or why you cut my this one? Most students, you don't pay the fee that month, you're already out. They're not going to let you into the class. Imagine you didn't pay your bill for your extra whatever, you don't pay, you're out. You see? But in our case, suddenly say, let them go for 1 month. Let them go for 2 months. After they go 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, then suddenly now you got 3 installments not paid. When you stop them, now suddenly you'll be like, oh, okay, now, you're only interested in money. We are like, actually, no, it's not really only interested in money. The question is, if you paid your fees, we won't have this problem. If you don't, we come and talk to people and ask for help. Bring documents. I am poor. I am B40. This. We will always help. But you'll have people, I got the money. I now have a friend of mine who's having a problem in this housing area. There's this guy who's not paid money, like 50,000, the backlog. But the way they act, I don't care. I'm going to sue you all, blah, blah, scream, shout. So they all say, we're only just working in this JMB. You know, I'm also in the JMB here. There are times where people won't pay for months. When you ask them for the money, you get scolded. You're the only one. But we're saying, but 99% of the residents have paid. I always remember my first year when I set up the college, second year, they now hide me because I got all the nicknames. Santa Claus, Sai Baba, you know, whatever, all the names. You know why? Because I stand there, I feel sorry for people. So they come and say, I cannot pay the fee. Then I say, okay, never mind, let him come and attend the classes. So now they say, take him and hide him somewhere. Don't let him be anywhere near him. People will come in and they will do this. They'll ask. So one year, this was my early years, one guy came in. He told me one sob story. So I said, never mind, let him attend the class. He then went down and told one of the other classmates, I went out, I talked to Raja Singham. Actually, my father gave me the 3,000 to pay. It's in my pocket. I told him I cannot pay the fees. Then he gave me a scholarship, he said, never mind, you don't pay, just attend the classes. That student was very angry. He came running up, he came and said, this guy is showing me the 3,000. Oh, he scolded the fellow, like crazy. But people do that. Sometimes you want to help people, and there are some people, we had one student driving a Mercedes. Coming and saying, I got no money. I cannot, this one, but they're driving a nice car, I got no money to pay the fees. So now we really wet. Give us income tax document, give us this document, we give us this one, we look at it. And there are people come and ask you. And a lot of people come and say they know me. Now, a lot of you all here know me also. Today, I'm here. So it's quite funny. People turn up. My brother is downstairs in the admissions office. They turn up. Is your boss here? They don't even know he's my brother. Is your boss here? We are related to you. We are related to him. Oh, if he was here, he will definitely lower the fees for us. Oh, then my brother will say, if you're related to him, you're also related to me. Then they'll be like, how come? Because my brother is like half my size, so and 10 years younger. So they'll be looking like, how come? I'm his brother. Oh, very distant. We haven't seen. Okay, how much the fees? Now they pay. I mean, we are related. There are a lot of people who know me everywhere. They'll call me and say, this person says he knows you. Now they all send me. Then I get scolded later. The fellow said, we know you, so we gave him a set. I said, everyone, then I get scolded later, like they're having the meeting. Oh, this one Rajan, this is Mosa. I said, no. Anyone says you know me, you send me the photo, you send me the name, I will tell you whether I know or not. Every person will, of course, come in and say, I know you. I'm always giving these kind of talks all over the place, so people know. So collect your receivables. Because sometimes people get angry with you, but no choice. We can't, if we don't collect the 3 million, 4 million ringgit in fees, how are we going to pay for our bills? How are we going to pay for the utilities, the bank loans, the staff, and so on? So you can't survive. You see? So just like anyone else, you can't survive. Now, this is your reducing expenses. Profit is actually just two simple things. Increase revenue, reduce expenses. But this itself, people don't look at. Reduce whatever expenses that doesn't affect the quality of your product. That is a key thing I need to understand. Whatever it is that doesn't affect the quality of your product, you can reduce. Don't reduce things that affect the quality or affect what they promise the customer. No. But there are things that don't affect anything. Like now we bought this building, it cost us 115 million. We got another 115 million building next door. To me, I always want to see what we can invest to give better service to students, to people. We have this learn different thing. There are 4 pillars: learn, play, work, impact. So we push along those lines. But look at your expenses. Cost leadership is being able to produce something at a lower cost. It doesn't mean big. But understand one thing, the last line there, cost reduction is not a long-term and sustainable strategy. You want to keep your costs down. But more importantly, you want to increase your revenue. More importantly, you want to grow and increase your revenue, but while controlling your costs. So if you control your cost, you minus 10% now, say your cost was 90 million, you have now cut it 10% to 81 million. Fine. But in the long term, you can't be making 81 to 75 to 60, you can't. So you need to keep your costs down, but that is not ultimately what's going to save your company. Measure. You have to measure everything. Your student number, your client, customer numbers, your profit, your margins, your sales that are there. Every time measure. And even sometimes you want to measure your people, their performance, productivity, per employee. All of these things are there. I am telling you, a lot of these things, last 1-2 years, I also have not been there doing it. Now, back in January, I start looking, this we do. And you will see immediately results, 50% improvement, 100% improvement, just by being awake. Now, to me, this is my most, actually for 3 years, I stopped working so much on the college and started doing more what I call social good work. For 2 to 3 years, that was where I was very active. Social good work is basically, Henry Ford has his definition of success. When they asked him what was success, very simply he put it this way: success is when you have done more for the world than the world has done for you. So I have actually been quite fortunate. I've gone through all the tough times, I've lost all my money, come back, which is one of the reasons why I like to help other businesses. I mentor a lot of businesses who are in trouble, who have problems, they come and talk to me. Sometimes I just talk to them and say, no, close it down. Because sometimes you need someone to tell you. Like this person was running a shop. Every month, husband and wife were working there. And then they're saying, our sales, we're doing about 10,000. But actually you take and you minus the cost of the item, about 7,000, it's 3,000. The rental is 15,000. They pour in their savings, year one, month 2, month 3, lost all the money, paying their suppliers from the sales. Then you're dealing, and it just goes on, It's a cycle. By the end of it, they've already lost 100,000. Then they tell themselves, the reason we are not doing, the other shop is selling similar thing but at a much lower cost. They say their quality is not as good, the material. The customer doesn't know. He's not an expert on this material came from here and that material. They are selling the material from China, which is lower quality. Our material is coming from this place, it's a higher quality. You touch it, all looks the same now. At the end, people don't know. Then they say, maybe the location of our shop is a little bit hidden. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. We don't know. But I looked at it, as a person from outside, I said, no, this is your cost, this is it. You're actually making only 3,000 ringgit. You got you, your husband, your this. You look, if your husband was working outside, how much salary would he get? 5,000, 6,000? If you were working outside, how much you get? 6,000? 12,000 ringgit. Okay? You got this. Close the shop. You want to sell? Sell online. Sell online, have a thing, no cost, you deliver what you can. But close the shop. Because in the next 6 months, you're going to lose another 80,000, 70,000 ringgit. And after which, all your savings will be out. She said, now we're managing to pay the suppliers from our savings. That's not a business. So sometimes to be kind to people, and when you are in the business, it's very hard for you to look at it objectively. Because you will find all the reasons in the world to be there. It's human, it's not working now because the pandemic. It's not working now because people is on. And then it's not working now because of my location. It's not working because I haven't marketed. So I said, no, why haven't you marketed? So a lot of these things are simple, but it's one. So to me, I switched to what is called businesses in the future should be impact driven. And in the old days, like Friedman always say, you focus on shareholders. The purpose of business is to look at the return to shareholders, how much profit you give to the shareholders. But now, there's the triple bottom line, which is people, planet, profits. You look at your people first. And your people is your customers, your employees, your whole team, and also the community. People is not just those people within your company, your customers and your employees, but it's the community as well. Then you look at the planet. What is the impact of what you're doing in the planet? You're looking at the whole environmental, that area of it. And then you look at profit. And this triple bottom line is where things are going. And what you all have to do now is to look and see how can you give back to the community. And no need to do anything big. If you as a person can teach 3 people maths for free, call them to your house, spend an hour or 2 hours a week, help them with their homework. Done already. You have changed 3 lives. So I always tell, I used to sit in a lot of these entrepreneur awards as a judge. And a lot of times I'm a judge in these entrepreneur awards. In the early days, they're often given, they'll have different things like financials, growth, brand, and one of it will be CSR, the community work they do. And they'll always put me in there. And then I'll be interviewing a dato or some guy will come in, we do this. This is what we've done. So my job is to see, what have we done for the community? We plan to do a lot of things. Often they haven't done anything. We are going to plan. From next year, we are going to help the community. Then somebody will do something, they might say, I donated to this place, or I did this, or I gave one check for this. I'm like, you guys can think of more creative things to do than this. But everybody wants to do good next year. Not this year. I am planning to. Once, but I'm saying, no, when people are starting out life, I know it's tough. But there are things you can do. I know Malaysians are some of the most generous people in the world. For all the nonsense that you see outside and all they talk about, fighting, racial thing, the public, when there's a flood, everybody runs out. Mr. Kumar, I say he was running out on Kampong Tengah and, Sri Muda. Here also I've got a lot of people in the front row here. Matula, Anne, and there's Moo here. You see a large guy walking around in a flood, it's normally him, then Ranjani. A lot of my team were running around doing things during the flood. We had 400 to 500 volunteers. We were there. I never forget one. We went to a restaurant. It was a restaurant. It was a bit of it was a mess. The entire thing wiped out. And the whole thing, the fridge, everything was really bad. Okay? And it was a restaurant by this Malay family. Everything had broken. Everything broken, everything upside down. So we walked. They were actually quite initially thinking who are these clowns turning up here? So we said, no, we are here for the Friday. They look. So I just took out, I had 2,000 ringgit. I just gave it to him. I said, no, this can help you maybe get some things. We got the students and this one. We cleaned, 30 hours, cleaned up the entire thing. The space. We took everything out, washed everything. And for them, it's an activity. We're cleaning the whole thing. They wash out. Everything was cleared. Okay, fine. Then I spoke to him. He said, I need new tables and chairs. So I came here in our canteen here. I told him at the time, we had all our tables and chairs. I gave all to him. I said, okay, we get a different set. We gave him all the 100 tables or whatever, I think 50 tables, chairs. They were shocked. And then I told him, what else you need? He said, I need a sink. I need this. We found whatever and gave him the items. He looked. That time, they were actually quite taken aback. We cleaned up, because the whole place, actually, you see the restaurant is really terrible state. But the students did it, the staff did it, this one. But that was not. We also went and did 40, 50 houses. So when this guy was there, he came out, because that time, pandemic, all wearing masks. But my size normally people can guess. So we were cleaning there. Then this guy comes up I thought he was a member of parliament. Nice car, very well dressed. This Malay guy comes out. He looks, he's sort of related to them, Then he looks, then he says, he said, you are here. There was a BAC truck nearby because we carry all the mops, pails and all we have. Then he said, oh, BAC is here. My daughter studied there. She got a first class. Then I said, oh yeah. Then I took up, you're Raja Singham. You are here cleaning the flood. I was carrying the whatever spade, we all there cleaning. Then you're here. Then he called the other. You tahu siapa dah ni? He's the owner of the school, So he said oh, this is what he called leadership by example. You also turun padang and start cleaning up. It's not like we're taking a photo and, put some, these things or whatever it is. But he was so excited. Then he called he's telling them, hey, this one. I said, nothing. I come. But I don't go often. You know why? Honestly, me with the chankol, because recently I found out I'm getting older. We went to one of the houses, there was the bed, they had a king-size mattress in the flood, queen-size mattress with soggy water. I thought like the young days I can just go. It was full of water, it was really heavy. Then of course you recall the younger boys, the ones who are doing the A-levels, the degree fellows, I'm still strong. But I just want to lift it, I said, my God, this is... Then he carried the broken bed, all come down. This guy was this is our problem with perception, Chinese guy. Of course, I am always in a t-shirt. You come on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be in a t-shirt, shirt. I don't have this jacket. Okay, this is just to put it on to hide the stomach when I'm in front of people. So, when we are there, this guy was sitting there, was a Chinese man, who actually, his entire family had left him. And he was sleeping in the gate area, your front house, the lobby, the cement, there on a mattress with the dog. Because the whole house is gone. So when we first came in, he saw, I think a couple of Indian fellas, probably thinking I'm going to get robbed during the flood. So we turned up there, hello, we are here to help. No, I don't need any help. No, actually, we just want to, no, I'm okay. Then I went and spoke to him. I said, no, I'm actually from here. I spoke to him for a while. Then he said, okay. Then he came. Ken, okay, come. Can you all move this cupboard out? Can you move this bed there? Can you move this one here? So we helped him clear out the whole house. But we had 400 volunteers working with us at different point. Then came the point of rubbish. Rubbish pile, like, the amount of rubbish piled outside was unbelievable, and it's not hygienic. Waiting for the council for us to send the thing. Nothing was coming. So we then hired the Ro-Ro bins. We called the Ro-Ro bin guys, hired the bins, then went there, and then we were now loading rubbish and sending rubbish out. So to me, what I'm saying is this: I am a firm believer is don't sit and complain. During the COVID, we worked at Rotary. We raised, I think, 480,000 or whatever in 2 weeks, this thing. We talked to the suppliers. So they say, we want concentrator. We want this item. We want, cadaver bags. We supplied to every hospital. Klang GH, Selayang, Sungai Buloh, 8 hospitals, Ampang. Because some of them were told, don't ask. If you ask, because it doesn't look good when they ask. But you see, the public will say what? This is the government's job. Why are we going and so on? This the government should do. Now, we must also use our brains once in a while. How long do you think is the government procurement process? When they want to buy something, they have got to put it like in a tender, ask 3 suppliers, get the price, then put it. It will get there in 6 months. The procurement process is not designed for the pandemic. It is not when the hospital is saying, I don't have a cadaver bag to put things in, the bodies in. Okay, now, because normally only X amount of people will die. Now it's X times 3 or X times 10. They need the bags. Now, if we sit down and say, because they'll tell me, why you want to do, ask government to do. Lah. This is their job. So I say, well, people are dying, we'll ask other people to do things. Lah. So for me, we just do. When it comes to online education, 180,000 for us, do. Project Deep, do. It'll cost us money, 8,000 for us. Entrepreneurs need training, 6,000, just do. Ask friends, do. Food, 200,000. Whether they are migrant workers, couldn't work, refugees, whatever it is, it's there. There will still be people, whatever you do in life, there will be people who will find something wrong with it. Whatever you do, it's there. Because they rather not do, they rather talk about something. But I'm just saying, everyone, so I say, when you look at Henry Ford's statement, to do more for the world than the world has done for me. If you have 6 billion people in the world trying to make the world a better place, this will be a very different world. There will be no war between Palestine and Israel. There will be no war in Russia and Ukraine. There will be no. Unfortunately, people benefit from these things. People have huge egos. If I back down on the war now, people will say I am weak. So I don't. I still go to fight. If we just realize sometimes it's just nice to just step back and chill. What is the big thing? That's why I said when I was driving a Rolls and a Mercedes, not that I drive the Rolls most of the time, okay? Then I drive a Proton. I really don't care. I've come to life, I don't care what others, what, they're not paying me for my meals, they're not feeding me, they're not giving me my, say, why care? So when you lose your ego and you really don't care, and I can't say you don't care 100%, we are all human, there will be some level, but you don't let it consume you. Just leave it. First, you'll be upset. Somebody said something bad about you, you'll be upset. Be upset for 5 minutes. Then you move on and just go and do something else. As long as you know what you're doing is right, you're fine. So these are some of the, we are getting to the point. These are some, we have actually won the ASEAN Award for community work 7 times, and a whole bunch of stuff there, which this slide not important. These are some of the things we did. So you'll see, like the COVID fund, we made about 500,000. Free Makan is the one with Free Makan and Free Food Society. And that's why Jaya Grocer, they were very kind. They because they're good friends with my friends at the Free Food Society, they gave us, I would say, about 600,000 ringgit almost. That's not counted in these amounts. When I say that one we don't count, because that came from them. We don't count that here. This is just directly. We did 1 million devices. Now we are still trying to get old machines, computers, new machines to give to kids who don't have. SPM Flex is there because now no PT3, no UPSR, so we close, we run. We're doing Pause Rescue. Asia Heroes was our volunteer thing we were running at that time. Reach Out. Now, Reach Out is another one which is quite funny. Reach Out was actually a platform which we just closed now. We started out during the pandemic. During the pandemic, there was a high number of suicides. Malaysia had the highest number of suicides. People lost jobs, lost family members. People were killing themselves. So we were doing food aid. We set up food aid. We do free food. On that one day, people are sending me videos. 3 people sent me videos of somebody jumping out of an apartment. When they send me videos, somebody then ask me, what are you doing about this? I know you're doing food, but what are you doing about mental health? People are killing themselves. I'm like, okay, so how does this become my problem? So for them, they start looking at you. When you solve problems, you have 200 NGOs. Each one said diabetes is the biggest killer. Cancer is the number one thing. This is the number one thing, blindness. This is everybody will come to you. Children, prostate cancer is this one. Everybody will come to you with different problems. And all of a sudden, you're sitting here like, hey, we are a small college with just us. Our capacity is competency building people. We help the NGOs build capacity. We run like, how do you fundraise? How do you get, so it's a matter of listening. So someone called and said, Auntie, what are you all doing about mental health? Then I realized, actually, there's the National Council for Mental Wellness, which they were setting up. And they had actually launched, not in this auditorium, but we got another backpack, the Performing Arts Center, which is a smaller one. That was actually launched there 6 months earlier. So that is all, Malaysian Mental Health, Befrienders, all the 30, KASE, all were there. So we called them, we set up a website in 7 days, 6 to 7 days, got the 30 of them together, and it was put on My Sejahtera. Then we trained 200 first responders for the Ministry of Health. We put the Zoom classes, got the classes set down for people who will answer the phone. And that was there for about a year and a half till after the pandemic, the 2 years, and we took it off. Because all these bodies were there. But we just wanted a way where people could just call one line, and then somebody will guide them, talk to this, talk to that. It took us 7 days. It was called Reach Out. Now we have just close it to end and say, okay, fine. Now people are sort of more settled. It's there. But the key thing is people must remember I told you, as an entrepreneur, what's your job? To find problems. And you try to run a business and make money. But as a social entrepreneur, your job is this. You still find problems. And you try to solve the problem. The only thing now is you're not trying to do it to make money. It's not to profit. You're trying to give something back to the community. And to me, an entrepreneur's problem, you know what's our superpower as an entrepreneur? Anyone of you is an entrepreneur? Your superpower is you can solve problems. And once you know how to solve problems to make a profit, you can easily solve problems to solve society's problems. So these are all some of the different things we run. Setting goals. So please understand, you must look after the community. If the people around you have no money and they can't survive, who's going to buy from you? And that's a different way of looking at it. I'm trying to get you all to think from a slightly different. So you have to sit down and see, what can I do to help others? Because there's no point you sit in a fancy house, sit in a fancy car, other people got no food. I think any human being with some basic conscience will understand there's not much point. And I cannot understand sometimes the kind of greed people have, want to earn 1 billion, 2 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion. I cannot understand that. What is the point? You see? So you also understand, just have enough money, you can have a good life. Nobody's saying don't enjoy, don't have a nice car, don't have a nice house. I'm saying you should have that, you earned it. But the idea is to share some of it. And once you have the ability to be an entrepreneur, there are a lot of things. You see, I'll tell you why. Let me tell you three. Who can solve problems, social problems? One, you have the government. Government, the problem is, while they want to, they will never think long term. Because they're always thinking of the election. It's a 5-year mindset. And unfortunately, in recent times, you got 3 governments change. A, B, C, 3 times, 3 fellows changed from 2020, before the pandemic and after. They change. When change comes, different. So when government, they've got a 5-year election. They want to do things and just make sure they get elected the next time. And Malaysia is the only country, when one fellow is there as government, the rest want to still attack the fellow. Even if he's doing something good, you just attack. You just attack for the sake of attacking. I'm like, if someone won, they won the election, let them peacefully do it and work together. No. From day one they come, this one they do, this one I don't know what happened, this one I do. Now the thing is, this fellow prosecute, then the fellow come, then the fellow prosecute, this fellow. We all, there's this work to be done. We're now going to spend time, and you'll be wondering who will be coming back to prosecute who next. So the key thing is government cannot. They have the money, they have the thing, but often, I think the majority of MPs are actually honestly not that bright. Sadly. Because all the fellows who can be there, but they don't want to be there because the game, they don't want to play the game. So the sad thing is, they can't do it. The civil service have to get up, they can do. If they get up and actually this one, they will be able to do. But sadly, that also needs good leadership. Second is the NGOs. The NGOs have the heart in the right place. The good ones, there are a lot of crooks also, but the ones who are sincere NGOs, their heart is in the right place, they want to help. But often, they don't have the money, and they don't have the skills or the capacity. They run around like headless chicken. Good heart, but others cannot do. The guys who can really do stuff are the big corporates, the giant companies. Small companies like us can do a little bit here and there. Your Microsofts, your IBMs, your Amazons, your Apples, your Netflix. The guys who are the billion-dollar companies, like in Malaysia, Petronas, these are the kind of guys, the corporate guys. They have the money, they have the skills, and they'll be around. They'll be around. So in a public-private partnership where the government works together with these guys, intelligence, okay, what's the problem? Education, lack of this education. And the guys go in with pure heart, with really wanting to help, not to try and see, then it can work. So ultimately, all of y'all, if you're in business, you're in corporate, you're individuals, you can do a lot more than the government, on its own. Because you need, these kind of things, sometimes you need a 30-year plan, a 20-year plan to see how do we get rid of poverty. How do we really improve? Like now, every day we got to hear our standard education is terrible, terrible. Our currency has dropped, terrible. All the people complain. Just complain. But what are we doing about it to help? That's why we set up the education platform. Not anything, every complaint. For me, I just say, set up education platform. They say, oh, no, food, hungry, okay, set up this one. The entrepreneurs will be training, okay, set up entrepreneur training. Because to me, you shouldn't just complain. Just try to help. Try to do. You can help 10 people, 20 people, fine. You see? Setting goals. Always set out your goals, set realistic goals, see how you can look at it. And then, I say don't give up. When I lost all my money last time, we could sit down and then give up. Although I say don't give up, I say face reality. Pride and ego can hurt you. For many people, the biggest thing that stops them from closing a business is the ego. The biggest thing. They're losing money, they will lose for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. They don't pay because they're worried what other people will say. But to me, don't worry about what other people will say. Make the best decision for yourself. That's the most important. Learn to fail, make tough decisions, reinvent yourself. If your business is not working, maybe something is wrong. See how to pivot. Try something new. Okay? Now, one of the benefits I had is, in 96 I did the IT thing. I had an IT store. I had a phone store. I had a club, which was technology-based. Actually, MTV had their first Asia Awards there. People like Hootie and the Blowfish. It was one of the top 5. I don't drink, but it was actually doing very well as a club. I had an IT training center. We had a IT solutions company. We had everything. The database. I did the Commonwealth marketing at that time in 1997, 98. The Commonwealth Games, the one we did for them. We had web design company. We had this one. We were doing AI work. We were way ahead of everybody else. But we got whacked. But the thing is this, I learned a lot of things then on technology which gave me a different journey from anyone who's running a college. Hence, I learned a lot of things there from managing, from technology, to look at things. So look at every failure as a lesson. That's all. Don't look at failure, I fail, and feel sorry for yourself. Just see what can I take away from the failure so I don't make that same mistake again. So look and see, if it's not working, it's not this one, be realistic, find a good friend, a mentor, someone you can trust. Get the advice and decide what to do. Now these are, all the things I told you in the 50 slides. This is like one slide which has everything, just the key word. So always when you look at it, it's easier. There are some things here which are not in the slides here, but there are 6, 7. So if you have this one slide, it will remind you of everything that was there. This one, say, while you want to work, you want to enjoy life. So to me, there are 7 areas. Spending time with your family, your health and fitness. I'm terrible at that area, though I am now looking at it. Now my health is good. But the one the doctors, so I'll come back and joke with them. They cannot believe when they do the test. They can't believe. So the other day, my friends, I said, how's that? I said, very good. They actually, most of the time, they are startled. They look at my wife. His reading shouldn't be like this. Sugar is at 5.3 without medication, this one. His reading should, they'll be more stunned than anything else. So I come back and joke with them and say, they want me to donate my body to science now because they can't understand this. I think it's because, although I'm not doing anything, my brain is always working. So the brain gets exercise. Finance, work, spiritual, social, and self. You must have time for yourself. I always finish the day by having some time. You must have friends. You must have your network. Whether it's your religion, whether it's one, but that spiritual side has to be there. Doing things for others, work, these 7 things, like how you want to sustain yourself, to have some money, to look at it. And now this checklist it's there in the slides. This is all the homework that you should be doing. I will get them to send you the slides. Okay? Because a lot of you all have been taking photos. I didn't want to spoil the fun. Then they say send the slides, then they say, okay, now we leave. So all this is a checklist but the checklist is not as full as going through each slide. So you should ask yourself and write the answers to these questions. There are 37 here. If you do these 37 things, actually they are small. If you go through the slides, it's like 45. Because sometimes one slide tells you to do 4 things. Work your customer acquisition cost, work your customer lifetime value. So I've chopped it down to 37. But if you want to go through each slide, you'll probably find 45 to 50 things. So now, that is my phone number. You all can take a QR code and do, they didn't put the number. I can give you the number for those who are scared, but I think everybody today knows how to use a camera and take down a QR code. You can take it. That's my number. It's not anybody else's. It's my private phone number. If you all need some help, advice, whatever it is, don't ask me for money. I have no more money left. Okay? Mentorship, no problem. Okay? If you need mentorship, but sometimes I'll tell you, I'm mentoring a lot of businesses. For a lot of people, because there's this thing called the ASEAN mentorship. I was sitting in ASEAN BAC for 4 years, representing Malaysia in ASEAN earlier, but I was also in TN. Okay, some can't scan it. I'll give you the phone number, because normally I put it there, but nowadays our guys think technology cannot. 017 500 6778. Okay? 017 500 6778. Okay? Raja Singham, just in case, Yeah, so actually I was thinking of bringing a small keyboard and playing for you all, because someone actually said that picture looks like he's singing karaoke. Then somebody else said, my laziness is actually when I carry that piano from the house at 88 key and bring it here, put it on the stage, and then take it back. It will normally sit in the car and then sit in the other part, because it's quite heavy to carry a mobile piano. So when I asked them, should I do? Some said, hey, good idea, why don't you play and sing some songs? It's there. So I will be doing one for charity. Another point, I will send, if you have all your number, I'll send. No, what I'll do is I might do it for food. So you pay 50 ringgit for a ticket, it buys a meal, a pack of 14 days provisions for a family. I will do one probably here. I am a firm believer of what's called a polymath. A polymath is a person who learns different things. So when I had COVID, I learned to play the ukulele. I always believe people should learn new things. So you keep learning, you keep doing new things. I play the guitar a little bit, taught myself, but now I got a teacher to come on Wednesday. He came, my age, another old guy, both sitting in the basement, and he's trying to tell me, this is how. I said, no, I don't want to be a professional, I just want to learn how to play. So understand this thing of fast-track skill acquisition as well. Okay, so questions. Anyone has questions? We just do perfect time. Sorry I didn't go a break, because I do understand. Hope some of you all didn't just do it at your seats or whatever. I'll find out later. Anyone's got questions? Yeah.
Besides the education plan that you shared earlier, going to Sri Lanka and all, do you have any other kind of business strategies that you're looking at?
Okay, for me, when you look at strategies, okay, what I was talking about today is this. You have to look and see how you're going to leverage technology for your business. Okay, what's the nature of your business? You're in IT. What do you do in IT? Okay, then what type of business are you looking at? Okay, when you ask, what's the strategy? What are strategies? Now remember, I'm talking just about growth strategies. Growth strategy is like, okay, what new product you want to launch? So I give an example. Like Apple earlier, they had the iPod, then they had the iPhone. After that, they decided to launch something bigger when they see people, the iPad. Now they see how Google Facebook had the Oculus, the glasses. They are now organizing theirs called the Vision Pro. With the Vision Pro, you can put it, you can move your eyes, you can even have about 130-foot screen through those glasses. I don't know how long you want to be sitting there, but it allows you to see, unlike the earlier one where your vision is blocked off. So when you're saying, Strategy, you can't give strategy that for everybody. Now for us, it's like this. We are in Malaysia, we operate in a college, we have expertise in terms of offering courses online, being able to have, we got the approvals for masters, PhD, whatever. Now, the thing is, there are a lot of countries like in Myanmar, in Cambodia, in Thailand, in China, where they are looking to see, how do I get access? So part of our strategy was tie up with LinkedIn, gives us content. Tie up with Coursera, gives us content. Tie up with these 30, 40 universities, gives us content. We bring everything together on a digital platform. Now we have the library, we have the courses, we have everything, we can expand anywhere. So our international strategy is very simple. One choice was, we go to India. Someone offered us 100 acres, government type thing, build a campus. That's one choice. But we think that that's going to take us 10 years to do. So we want to take a technological approach, asset light, and move. So your strategy will very much depend on what are the skill sets you have and how you want to grow. So for other thing, our strategy also is, instead of us trying to develop, say, an IT school under BAC, we tried to do, set up an IT course. But when this university came, and Unimi was a university set up by Cabinet 10 years ago, in 2013, to solve the digital skills gap. When the opportunity came to acquire it, we said, we'll buy the university. They already have faculty, they already have students. Now we can improve by adding whatever we can bring to the table, which is our technology resources, our partnership. We work with Microsoft, we work with, like IBM. So we got all our partnerships that we can bring to the table. We got LinkedIn Learning, we've got, all this one. We got our university partners, and we benefit off their license. So you have to see for strategy what works for you based on what are you having. So let's say if you had, as I said, the kway teow stall. You have one kway teow stall. Now what could his strategy be? I just keep here and have one kway teow stall. It's on. Or maybe I teach my son how to make. Now we have two kway teow stalls. Or 3, I go and talk to people. I'm prepared to share this recipe. Now, this is one of the things, I'll tell you one of the problems I had. Many years, because I set up the school in 91, I was teaching. There was a point I was teaching 40 hours a week. I was the most busy lecturer in this thing. And I can actually, I think by now you already realize it, I can stand and talk from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9:30 at night. I never feel tired. I feel tired when I stop talking. So the question is, I'll have different batches of students will come, 9 to 10 one group, then 12 to 3 different group. Then they'll ask you, how are you teaching for 12 hours in a day? I said, I don't know, I don't feel anything. Then at night I'll go back and prepare slides, classes, whatever it is. So we have that energy. But, so they always were worried. They said, no, if we take him out of college, he's teaching, we will lose the students. And most people are very selfish with their knowledge. What I said is, no, let's train other people. We train teachers. So what we did is we started getting other teachers who are good. And I always say, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Got other teachers who are good. We train the people, get the structure. Never being worried that, they might come, they will learn, they will run away. That's our challenge. We have to just make sure we have the whole ecosystem. If we think, one guy coming to teach, we have taught him how to teach, he runs away, then we're going to lose everything, then there's a problem. So I said, now, I really don't care. We train. These are our books. These are our materials. Use my notes. Use my slides. Use everything. Go and do. And the more we did, then it didn't care. I could actually move out from working in the business, which I was doing a lot of, to working on the business. So our strategy for growth has been acquisition, acquiring the other schools, increasing our product range, now going international. So these are the strategies. But every strategy for every business will be different based on what, you see, whatever strategy you have, whatever you decide, the key thing is this, you must have the competencies and the capabilities. If you do not have the competencies and capabilities, no point. If I say we want to go and do, we want to leverage technology and offer the courses online around the world, but I don't have the e-learning competency, no point. So you have to see what is the strategy you want to do, and then ask yourself the serious question, do we have the competencies and capabilities in place to be able to deliver on the strategy? The people resources, the IT resources, the physical resources, do you have all the resources that you can? If you do, you can move. There's no problem. I hope that's one, but anything else we can take later. Any other questions? Yeah.
Where things before won't work as it work now. So all this knowledge you have, like from past experience and what, how would you approach with AI coming into play? And my second question for that is, since you said you do mentor young entrepreneurs, do you still do that now? Because I could use a few advice from you.
Okay, that one definitely. You got a number, you can always WhatsApp me. Now, the key thing is this. You see, why I talk about staying relevant is every one of us has this problem. How are we going to stay relevant? Even a football player. A football player plays about 30-something, he will retire. Get injury, he retires. Question then is what happens? Maybe he becomes a manager. Only one example of football player I know who has actually earned more after football career than before is Beckham. Ambassador, advertising, marketing, and he earned even more post probably than his football career. But generally, it's a problem everyone's facing. Okay? So the key thing today is this. You have to learn. That's why I said the World Economic Forum talks about the half-life of a skill from 30 years to 6 years, and some say 3 years. So the key thing today is you go and study a degree. I am still, not because I'm in a college, believe people should do a degree, to do a course. But now we give them a lot of what is called competency-based learning through skills. So you pick up like project management skills. Even our law course now, the UK transfer, we got project management. You pick up design thinking. You pick up. So you have to be open to learn. I've got to learn about generative AI. I got to learn how to become a prompt engineer. Not to say, sometimes, Mr. Kumar, sorry, but sometimes I told him, I said, no, this thing, you're supposed to do something. I said, no, take the chat GPT. He said, no, I will not be using it. I took the chat GPT, I said, no, okay, now I'm putting this in. He looked at it. He said, what the hell is this? Why you don't need people? This is cheating. This thing is writing. I said, yeah, but this is the future. He said, this is cheating. Then what will be people? I write this thing on my own. I do this. He's a fantastic artist. But the question is, I showed him. Then when he looked at it, he was like, son. Then later in the evening, he called me. He said, so I'll use the chat GPT to do. I said, no. So I said, I will use it and use it for whatever purpose. The biggest thing is, I say now, is learning. Because when the pace of change comes, so one of the skill sets you must pick up is what's called fast-track skill acquisition. Fast-track skill acquisition, okay? You go and look, there's a book by this, just put learn anything in 20 hours or less. Learn in 20 hours or less. Just try that. If you Google it, you will find the link. It's a method of learning whereby what you do is this. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to play the ukulele, okay? Or you want to play the guitar. You say, okay, what do I want to do? I want to be able to play 10 songs or 50 songs. That's your target. To do that, what are the simplest chords I need? What are the skills I need? You need to be able to strum. You need to know your chords. Okay? The chords, you need to be able to change the chords. You need to know some chords. Then you practice each of the skills. For 20 hours, you vigorously practice the skills. And then you get someone to guide you, who will then act and see whether you're playing it right. Say you're going to speak Mandarin. He'll tell you whether you're pronouncing it right. No, it's a bad word, or you wanted to say hello, but now what you said is a bad word. So you're someone to guide you there. And as you look at it, you intensely only learn one skill at a time. Within about 8 to 10 days, you will pick up a skill. You see, it's called Learn Anything in 20 Hours. It's actually somebody here can Google. It's a guy, I forgot his name. Josh Kaufman, yes. Josh Kaufman, Learn Anything in 20 Hours or Less. Josh Kaufman. There's another book, 48 Hours. I used to read tons and tons of books. Go, this one, you go, the first 20 hours to learn anything fast. It's a book by Josh Kaufman. There's a YouTube video, because I'm going to assume that most of you are not going to buy the book and read it. I actually bought the book and read it, but later you've done a YouTube video, it's only about 15 minutes. I actually have a form also, that this one. It's a good book. But what we have here is this. We have 17,000 videos and 500 courses that teaches you every one of this. Through our LinkedIn Learning, our Coursera, that's why we set up this HRD Academy. It's only 2-hour courses. So every course is 2 hours. So you come in, you get fundamental of project management, design thinking. Every evening, weekends, like what you had today. Today I'm just giving you a general overview. We have different people coming in who are experts, so you can pick up anything. After which, what interests you, you can spend these 20 hours and look. I might even do one class on this, because I'm trying to do it for the kids. It's a good way to learn, but often you'll find you still need to collect what you need. Like you get to get a ukulele. You got to get if you're going to use a plectrum or you're just going to the free strum, you got to get all your equipment in place. If you want to learn scuba diving, you got to buy your scuba gear. So everything is, you got to make sure you got all the tools required. And it's very easy. You just go and watch the video. It's a very good, simple 15-minute video. Are we doing something? Okay, I'm going to do some exercise. Yeah, you guys all came here. You gave me my number. We wanted to do, actually I was supposed to go tonight to see a show. Ed Sheeran is in town. But I've seen him the last time. And honestly, I've seen him, and so I have 2 tickets to Ed Sheeran. Okay, I'm not going. Because we do the marketing for the shows, you see. You know, whenever you have all this Billie Eilish, Ed Sheeran, all the big acts that come in, we have an advertising agency, so we also help to do marketing and structure. Though this one is not, we don't do marketing for this concert. A lot of concerts we do. Okay, but I happen to have I was given 2 tickets, so I'm going to give the 2 tickets away. So what we want to figure out how to do is we're going to have like a lucky draw, and I think they're going to pan out. Okay, this is our BAC's. You came here; it's a free course. This is our Google review page. Okay, take your phones, take it, and just write a review. I think we have brought T-shirts to give people. Now, I don't know whether it'll be your size or not. See, like my case, we need a very special size. They'll have to order from China specially. Okay, but we'll give you a T-shirt. Just write a review about what you came today. Feel, just be nice, lah. Okay, don't say things like I think he should lose weight. Okay, so just be nice. Take 2 minutes, and then I'll let you all go. Unless anyone else has got a question, I'll give you all free 3 minutes of time. Just write something nice. Hopefully, we learn something today about being nice. You can talk about the session. You can talk about what we felt you learned. You can talk about one of the things that you are thinking of going to do after this.
Sir, I got one question. Here.
Okay.
Here.
Sounded like God was speaking to me for a while.
Mr. Raja,
Yeah.
I'm your secret admirer. I'm first time here. So I have one personal question actually to ask. Because when I went, when you are 23, I'm somewhere there also. So I don't manage to study law that time because I don't have the money for LLB. I went for ICSA.
Oh.
So the story, I just cut short the story. And I have problem with my child. I have 3 kids. Nowadays, because he graduated from 5 when in COVID time, and he doesn't want to study. Nowadays, I managed to get my second son to continue study, but my eldest son started a small business, F&B. That's why I came more on for him and also for my own learning. And I catch a lot of things today. I really appreciate it. And as a role model, actually, I already subscribed continue to do a master in corporate law because I couldn't do it last time. So now I have some money, I can continue as a role model to my kids that we continue learning. I quite sad when he said he doesn't want to study because he got a good result. But he just said, Mom, I don't like to study, I want to do business. He started with a lot of sales skill, property, insurance, and now he's doing a very small scale F&B. So I came here, thought of that, but now I have this question, how you encourage youngsters to continue learning? These are youngsters who think of getting money instead of going for education.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is a problem everywhere now. Let me explain the problem that is not just your children. This is a generic problem everywhere. Okay. The key thing is in the old days, in the old days everybody studied. Then you go and get a degree. Then you get your degree, you go and get a job. Okay. And we had this thing. We were part of the asset generation. So you will get a job. Okay. Then you will get a partner, wife, husband, whatever it is. Then you buy a house, usually putting your children near where the schools are and so on. We are from the asset generation. They buy a car. The new generation is an access generation. What they want is access. So, no need to buy a car, I can Grab. I'm just going to drive Grab. No need to buy a house, I can just go in, maybe lease, buy, whatever it is. I don't want to be tied down. No need to go rent videos all. I just watch Netflix. So what's most important is access on the phone to everything. I access my food, no need to go out. I can shop online, I can do everything online. The key thing is there. It's a change. Now, the problem that a lot of young people don't realize, today when they finish Form 5, they then look at it. One, the pandemic caused problems because a friend of mine runs a medical type school. They do, this one. Before the pandemic, they were making a profit of 2.8 million, 2.7 million. They were doing okay. Post-pandemic, suddenly they lost 2.8 million. Because they said the number of people doing science subjects, because no labs, physics, chemistry, bio, had dropped. So the number of people who could go and do these kind of courses like radiographer or nursing, whatever it is, had also dropped. Medical courses, medical had dropped. So they were less, the supply is less. So when they finish Form 5, now they think, I can drive Grab. If I drive around, I can earn 2,000-3,000 ringgit. And therefore, I am okay. But the problem I don't realize, in San Francisco, there are already autonomous cars. You don't need drivers. And once you have these autonomous cars, a problem becomes then, how are we going to deal with this kind of problem? What are they going to do if all they know is to drive? Then, so they then think, I can work in, like a Grab driver, I can do this one, delivery type work, I can do. Yes, they will get 1,500. I can be a waiter, I get 2,000. Why do I do? The reason why you study is, a person may graduate and come out now with 2,500. He say, I'm also earning 2,500. But the idea of learning is so that you can grow and learn. In the next 5 years, 10 years, you will be earning much more because you have got that ability to learn. So to me, I am actually happy for people to set up businesses. So like your son setting up a business, I'm all for it. It's good. But what I'm saying is what he could do is sign up. That's why when we have these Veritas type courses, we did everything. They can study Saturday, Sunday. Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday. They can study on the weekends. You can drive Grab. I'm saying, you want to drive Grab in the weekdays. Monday to Thursday, you earn. But then you do. Problem now is people want to become influencer. They become this. But the lifespan of these things are short. 1 out of 100 people may make it. 1 out of 1,000 people or 10,000 people may make it. So recently there was a big thing on this World of Bars about this influencer who put himself in a 9 or 10 million ringgit house, pretending to be his house. Then later on, actually the house is for sale, it's not his house. But a lot of them create these things. We don't know. I mean, what he's doing is, you create these things where you say, I do this, I do that. There are people who make money with these things. And to me, we, as our generation, shouldn't look down on the other generation and say that they got it wrong. They may have it right. But I always feel, get the degree. You still work, you get your degree. You build your skills and competencies while you do your business. When I set up the college, I was 23, My first year of teaching, I teach at the postgraduate level. I was the second youngest person in class. I had 26 people in class, 25 of them were older than me. I was the youngest. There's one student who was younger than me. But I was teaching the CLP, the postgraduate, after you finish the law degree. And it was quite hard to win their confidence. It took some time to win their confidence. It was thought crazy by the time I was 23-year-old setting out school. I know there was another college nearby. The principal there she was in her 50s, now we are friends. She said, what mad parent will send their child to an institution run by a child? And so she's good friends with my auntie. I went to my auntie's house. I spoke to Mrs. She said, what? She didn't know that you're my nephew. She said, what kind of parent will send their child to a person where the fellow is 23 years old and they're like 21 years old? Okay, this was like 30 years ago. But to me, it was thought weird. But as time went on, it is there. Nowadays, sometimes people set up businesses when they're 19, when they're 18, they're 17. I am all for it. I'm saying, ask him to set up. Look at it. But he should go and do some learning. Learn on the weekends. Learn on the structure. Because when he doesn't, you see, companies sometimes will say things like, they'll say, okay, this guy said, I will hire people not for graduate, I hire for skills. But tomorrow, when they actually work in the thing, the guy say, got no degree, don't promote. He cannot become senior manager. He cannot become manager. So I have a lot of people who come to us now. I got a diploma. I'm stuck there. Everybody else is moving. I want to upgrade to a degree. So we have options now where people can do this part-time. On Saturdays, Sundays, you can learn. The idea is to democratize. To me, everyone should be given opportunity to learn. If you have no money, you should say the opportunity. You're somewhere in some jungle somewhere, as long as you got net access. You have no access. Everybody should be given opportunity to learn. Even don't go to a college. Don't go. Sit down and read. Read, learn online. The resources that people have today compared to what we had, I tell you, is unbelievable. I have on my phone 17,000 videos, 10,000 books, everything. My phone is like, the only thing I say, I wish I had more time. Because you got 23 companies to run and all the projects we do, the time is the issue. So to me, if you are sitting at home and not learning, then I don't know what's the issue. Learn, formal, go to a college, go to a school, read, go online. But if you don't, you will become irrelevant faster than anything. That's why I said, today it's all about competencies. When I have my staff with me, my colleagues with me, I'm always looking, we need this competency, we need this competency. I can't learn everything. Some things is, my strength is this, my main thing is leadership and strategy. That is my job. How to lead the team and strategy. The rest of it, if I go and say, okay, go and do this one, email blast, whatever, MailChimp, somebody will do. This one, I need this done. They will do. They are all your hands and legs. Everybody out there to learn. And we want to get the people who have the right attitude, the right character, and you move. If you are good, no employer will let you go. Because they will like you, you'll be happy there. But for you, don't worry. Your son, you can give him my number also. If he wants to talk about his food, F&B business, he wants to grow, whatever, some ideas, you know. As you can see, I like F&B, you know. So I will pay for my food, don't worry. Okay? Yeah, but just give the number you want to talk, you see. Because, honestly, today, last time there were 400,000 fellows finish SPM, they'll go out to study. Now, the number of finishing SPM is getting less and less. You know why? No PT3, no UPSR. So no exam for 11 years. After 11 years of studying, there's the first SPM exam is the only real exam they are taking. They don't know how to sit for exam already. So they drop out. You start getting people with 1 credit, no credit, 2 credit, they drop out. Then they don't want to go to TVET because TVET is considered a lower end type thing. Then they are stuck. And our big problem is, how do you take these fellows? Because the ministry says, oh, you cannot take them if they don't have the thing. But they don't understand by changing the system, only having one exam at the thing. So end of the day, what they do? I'll drive Lala Move. I'll drive Grab. I'll go and try to become an influencer and see if I can get followers. I try and do. But all of this is short-term thinking. You will earn 2,000 today, but you will earn 2,000 for the next 10 or 20 years. Whereas the other guy learned 2,000, next year 3,000, 5,000, set up his own business and grow. And I'm not saying people who don't have formal education can set up. So people often use this example. Bill Gates didn't finish his degree, he dropped out. Okay, the other, Steve Jobs dropped out. But you know, Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard. You know how hard it is to get into Harvard? He is not a coconut. You know, I mean, the thing is, he's not an idiot. He got into Harvard, he's one of the brightest fellows. The opportunity for he and his guys to do something to change the world was there, so he takes it. Then everybody else says, oh, but Bill Gates has no degree. What? Steve Jobs says no. These were fellows who got into the best universities in the world. There's, you know, like Stanford, Harvard. And because they were so excited on the project, they jumped to do that project. But for the fellows who dropped out, I can name 1 million other dropouts who got nowhere. You know, it's just say, I want to be an actor. Why? Oh, Tom Cruise made 100 million in the movie. Okay, how many actors didn't make 100 million in the movie? You know, not everybody is Shah Rukh Khan or Tom Cruise or whatever it is. But you'll say, he made 100 million in the movie. I want to be an actor. So I said, okay, definitely, it will work out. You know? So just be kind. I know this thing should have been there long enough. I want to thank all of you all for coming here today. I don't want to keep anybody longer. Anyone wants to stop and ask questions, whatever, after this, can stay back with me. The rest of the people, thank you for giving your bladder a good workout. Huh? And, oh, can we take a picture this way or something? Or you all have taken pictures? It'd be nice if I had a picture with you guys. So at least I stood down there and said hello. Actually, if I stood there, you block all of you all. You won't see anybody. You won't see me there. How to take? I got to. Okay. Everybody come closer. What does that mean? Oh, you mean in front? No, don't give them too much work to do. If I stand here, it looks like the 5 chairs are people. Oh yeah, okay, we don't fill up these chairs because of the camera. Okay, one last question, anybody wants to ask? Yes sir.
This is a little joke lah.
Thank you.
I'm related to your brother lah. So that's a joke. Okay, so
Hello relative.
Arya is like my role model lah. So I am an ex-BAC student. Some years back, I did law. I mean, not some years back, just last year I finished. So when I came earlier, when did inquiry a few years back to study law, your PR or something like that, they were basically telling me that, you don't have 5 credits, you cannot do law, blah, blah thing. So one day I walked in and met Arya, and he sat down and gave me a whole range of, pathways to become, graduate. So that eventually, yes, I did graduate. And